think everything is set up. I think we're live. I think I'm like closer or taller than I normally am. I think I've been in here. I think my chair has been moved, put up, but whatever. It shouldn't affect anything. Let's get this stuff going. First, we'll change this to live so I can actually see comments. And we will get the first poll at least set up. So there. We will go with, we'll go there. And from there, hey, what's going on, man? Let's do there's that. And oh. Bam, that'll put the first one out there. All right. Let's see, make sure this is actually up and running. Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? It is not completely cleared up. It's a lot better than it was. I'm under the impression that whatever this was, like it cleared up on this arm. I probably got a dot here and there, but like I see a dot here and a dot here, here. So it's like it's still there, but it's not nearly the level of prominent that it was, but this was like blistered and like a bubble basically. And then here it was really, really bad. This was the absolute worst of it. It looked like a giant like scrape kind of, and then it was like it was bubbling, and then it went out from there, and it was about that wide, and around the edges of it, it was starting to turn like a purple color, like a really nasty bruise. And then they put me on all that stuff, like the antibiotics and the steroids, and they gave me like a cream stuff and like all this other stuff. And it is way better, but I'm under the impression that it might turn into a scar. I don't know, because I'm almost at the end of the medicine, and I don't know if I need to go back and ask them about it, or if I just need to shrug my shoulders and understand that, like, when it does finally clear up, it's never going to be clear. That plant messed me up bad. It was not a good plant. Yeah, it was pretty bad. To the point where now I have almost like a psychological like reaction. I go down to the edge of the fence down there, and I did it like just a couple days ago. I went out and I was working on something in the yard, and I went by the fence and I started itching. Just started. Like I was standing over there, and it was like it was in the air, man. I like started itching my arms, and then I was really uncomfortable, and I was itching the top of my head and everything, and then like I was like, oh my God. And I knew like I could feel it. I could feel there was nothing wrong, but like this plant messed me up so bad that it just made me feel like just being down there, I was getting affected again. I gotta buy a really strong weed killer in order to kill it, because now I know how it affected me. I know how it got me. It's not the leaf, come to figure out. So I am right. It's still the same situation as always with things like poison ivy and whatnot. I can't necessarily get it if I just grab the leaves. But since it was attached to the fence, when I grabbed all these leaves, what they were, this big vine, and I was ripping it out, it then tore all the leaves and like the vine. And the stuff on the inside got me. Not the oil on the outside, but like the sap on the inside got me. And I had a very, very, very negative reaction to it. Like, so this is like our first live in a month because of all that. Like I noticed that. The last live was like the first week of this month. And now this live is like the last month. So, yeah, like absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. No, it's no, it's not bed bugs. It's a dermatolic. What do they call it? A dermatolic reaction to a plant. There's a vine that was growing on my fence, and I pulled it because so I've lived in this house for a decade, okay? And there's this one vine that grows on the fence, and it like covers the whole fence. Like it becomes like a wall of green. Well, I've been here for a decade, okay? And I go down to the fence, and because of my life history, I have never got poison ivy ever. Not even once in my entire life. So I'm under the impression that I can't get it. And proof to that, just to put it out there, every time this thing grows on the fence, I go down there and I pull it off the fence. I cut it and I pull it out and I throw it behind into the brush and whatnot, and I'm done. I go inside and I wash my hands and I take a shower and nothing. Nothing. I've never had an outbreak. I've been doing it for a decade. This time, it didn't happen that way. This time, what is growing on the fence is something called Virginian creeper. And the sap on the inside of this plant is what got me. So when I ripped it off the fence, it, for lack of a better term, it bled on me. Now, normally when I go down there and I take precaution enough. I wear like a pair of work gloves, but that's it. Well, the reason I know it's the sap, it almost has to be. The reason I know it's the sap is because when I pulled this thing off the fence, I pulled it off the fence with my hands. I'm accidentally activating the camera. Stop, camera. My hands were fine. They never had a breakout. They never even had itchiness. Ever. But where because you rip it off the fence like this or whatever, and of course it flies back, and some of the stuff as you did the leaves and whatnot kind of sprays because there's a sap inside of the vine. That's what got me. And it got me bad. Like really, 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 really bad. I mean, it was way worse than what you're seeing. Like, it is way, way, way worse. It was about the worst I'd ever got anything like this. And I guess it would have to be because I've never had anything like this. I've had skin irritation from I had a couple of things in my life that caused irritation like this. One was a detergent that my grandmother used. I never quite understood why, but whatever was going on, she would use this detergent and I would break out. I don't know why. I would break out. So we had to stop using it. And I've never really had an allergic reaction, so I don't know what was in that detergent that was causing it, but it messed me up. The other time that I've ever had something like this, and that's the reason I'm leaving that comment up, is because one time I did experience bed bugs. One time. I was living in an apartment. And all of a sudden, our apartment was infested. We were upstairs. And one day, we went to sleep. And we woke up. And I remember even telling my wife, I was like, I feel itchy. Like when I was in the shower and whatnot. And she was like, me too. Well, she discovered it later that day. And she was like, oh my God. We have bed bugs. And I'm like, how? How do we get bed bugs? We change the bedding every 2 weeks. We stay consistently clean. We're not dirty people. How do we get them? Well, I know how we got them. I know exactly how we got them. Because the people below us were not consistently clean. And I don't know what you know about living in apartments. I'm sure a good portion of people know what it's like to live in an apartment. If the guy downstairs has roaches or ants, you do too. Yeah. Be as clean as you want. You got them too. Well, the way we figured out the guy downstairs had them, and he had them bad, was because relatively about a week after we were starting to treat, like we were like spraying the bed and like getting the stuff and like trying to shampoo everything, and we took like every pair of article clothing that we had out of the apartment and basically did like an emergency wash, and like we're trying to figure out where it came from, we're trying to kill it. This trailer shows up like in the back, like in the parking lot area, and this guy is moving like all of his stuff into this trailer. And he wasn't moving. He had them so bad that they had to come in, bring a trailer, take everything this dude owned out of his house, his couch, his chairs, his bed, everything. Take it down, put it in this trailer, bomb the trailer, go to his apartment, come upstairs, tell us, like the landlord had to tell us, hey, you're going to have to leave for a couple of hours. What? Yeah, we got to bomb the apartment below you. Have you had any problems? And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. So I had to tell the guy, yeah, recently we did. And he's like, yeah, it's, And I'm like, oh man. He goes, yeah, I'm trying. He's like, we're gonna bomb his apartment. We've taken everything out of it. He says, if you think you've got it under control, fine, but we can bomb your apartment too. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. Do it. Do it. So we had to leave. We like went and watched a movie or something like that, and then like went out to eat. We basically stayed away for like 4 or 5 hours. And that was like a whole ordeal. And his stuff didn't get to go back in his house right off the bat either. They like bombed his house and bombed the truck or whatever, and then he had to wait like a week to bring his stuff back in. Like, oh my God. So I've experienced what that's like one time, and like how hard it can be to get rid of them and everything. And yeah, hopefully that never happens again. And luckily, I'm now in a house. I don't deal with the fact that somebody else is dirty enough to give me problems. Like, I mean, I guess it could still happen. Nothing is impossible. If your kid goes to school, that's another thing they don't really talk about very often. But if your kid goes to school, if kids got it, they bring the crap home. Like, your kid can go to school and come home with head lice. That has not happened to us, luckily. It's never happened. Not that I would have a problem with that, but that one has never happened. But I have been more sick in like the last 5 years than any other time in my life because your kid goes to school and brings it home. Like, it didn't used to be like that. I would go to work and I would go home and that was it. And like I would go 2, 3, 4 years without getting sick. Like, even so much as a cold, like, I'd just be fine. Like, I have a sinus problem. That's it. Now, all of a sudden, it don't work like that. Kid comes home, like, every 2, 3 months. She's got something. I'm like, oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Because kids is just germ factories, man. They just pass that crap around. Got to try to drive home quickly. Amazed you're not in my neck of the woods for free Pokemon Con going on, although most of the stuff... Yeah, I don't really do the cards, so yeah. So the next time I go down there and I mess with any of this stuff, I am going to... I've got like a long sleeve shirt, and I've got these rubber gloves that I have, that they go up to about here, and I'm going to use those, because I got to get it off the fence. But yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Yeah, it's crazy. I had a bad case of poison ivy once. It was not pretty. My neighbor told me, because I went and I asked him. I like knocked on his door and I said, "Hey man, we got this thing that's growing on our fence, and I know what it is now, and I know I can get rid of it, but it's gonna kill some of the grass on your side. Like there's no way around it. Like if I spray this thing down to kill it so that it dries out so that I can pull it, like it's gonna kill your grass." And he's like, "Do it, do it. I don't care." And I said, "All right, man, as long as you don't care." And he says, "Listen, man." He says, "I went down there." And so I guess he did like the same thing. He said he was like mowing the yard down there or whatever, and he pulled some of it off the fence. And it's a lot of work. I mean, it covers like the whole fence, just like a green wall. And like every time you tear it down, it basically grows back. So he tore some of it off, and his comment to me, get this. He says, "Yeah, I tore some of it off the fence. And then, I mean, I was down there, not walking all the way back up to the house." And I was like, "Oh no." And he says, I decided to just kind of pee down there in the corner." And I'm like, "Oh, you had yourself a week, didn't you?" He goes, "Oh my God." He's like, "If you can kill it, kill it. I don't care." So he had it way worse than I did. Way, way worse than I did. Yeah. Great to see you doing lives again, Bill. Just wanted to ask, are you going to review any more Chronicles figures? And what were your thoughts on the reveals? So the reveals, I saw that there's a new Tila. I'm not really sold on it. It's not a classic look. It's a very new, like, movie take kind of thing. It's fine. I don't know. Maybe if I see it in person and it impresses me, I don't know. I do have one Chronicles figure that's still waiting to be. Sorry, I have two. I have Skeletor and I have King Grayskull and I have Orko on the way. So I'm not done with Motu by a long shot. We'll have more Chronicles figures as we go. But I'm going to be cherry picking the Chronicles line quite substantially, I think. I like the bodies and everything like that, so I'm very interested to see where it'll go and what they'll create and what they'll do with it all. But I'm going to be very picky about what I get from them. Especially since I already see the same problems I saw in Masterverse. At the end of Masterverse, they're already playing games with the female Bucks and producing figures that are on the Marvel Legends 10 years ago Buck. I don't think that's acceptable, realistically. And it does give me pause for what's coming with DC. It does worry me a little bit. No joke, moved into an apartment like you, slept on the floor, felt something stinging my backside, looked down, there it was. Nasty little bugger. Landlord failed to mention that. Oh, he just slipped his mind, you know? It's not that he was trying to get away with anything or, you know, sell his place or not. It's just, you know, he's got so many things going on, you know, and, you know, it just slipped his mind. It just slipped his mind. Your sinus issues were also mostly related to you. Yes, that's true. My wisdom teeth, when they grew in under the gums that way. So they cut off the bottom of my back molars, and then basically rotted inside of my gum line and was causing sinus infections. And I had consistent sinus infections every month. And no doctor was really seemed to be concerned about why I was getting sinus infections. They just kept treating it. They were like, "Here's antibiotics, get out of my face." And it was finally one doctor that I went in and looked at, and he got to looking at it, and he was like, "You've been in here way too much for the same issue. Something's going on." And he was the one that kind of got it down and said, "Okay, I think I know what's going on, but I'm going to need x-rays to see it." And so then they sent me to an orthopedic surgeon and whatnot, and they had to basically cut my gums open, drill in, pull everything out. And then, I never really talked about this, after they got everything out, I started healing. They didn't get everything. I got what's called a bone splinter, where there was just enough left in there that it like healed around, and then it was stabbing me, and I had to go back in and cut me again and take the fragment out. So that was a whole ordeal. That was super fun. I very much enjoyed it. I wanted to know if any SDCC DC McFarlane figures you want. Alex Ross, Batman, Superman looked cool. So I haven't had a chance to look over all of it yet. So I'm not 100% sure. I did see that there was an entire like list of stuff that that dropped, but I haven't had a chance to look it over. And so I know like with the Alex Ross Batman, the Alex Ross Superman that I saw, no, I don't want that. It's weird. Alex Ross does these amazing frickin' pictures, like drawings, paintings, basically. And they're miraculous. They look like real people. It's shockingly good. However, there is a little bit of fantasy that I want in my comic book figures. And strangely enough, like, I put Christopher Reeve on my shelf. I love Christopher Reeve. I think he looks fantastic. But there's like a lot of comic book in that design that they released. So like it like hits this perfect medium. Weirdly enough, like when Batman does just look like a guy in a sweater, it doesn't appeal to me in figure form. Like it's a real weird thing. And like the Alex Ross Superman, who I bought the Kingdom Come Superman, and I was very excited. It's like an Alex Ross Superman. But then I saw this other one, and like something about it is not, it's not like sitting with me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's if he's kind of nailing the Alex Ross look and it doesn't look good in toy form to me, or what it is. But something just feels off when I looked at it, and I really didn't care for it. Now I did see that they have a classic Robin coming out. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, do I want that? Do I want a classic little kid Robin? I don't know. I really don't. I have a classic Batman, but like the little kid Robin, I've never really been a huge fan of little kid Robin to begin with, and then now I don't know. And then now they got two different versions of a Robin coming. Like one Robin is a more classic costume, but like he's an adult, which I don't know, maybe you could argue he's a teenager. You get the idea. It's labeled Hush. Something about a grown man wearing that outfit that like doesn't, like, it just seems dumb, ridiculous to me. So like I don't know if I want that. I don't know where I sit with some of this stuff. I'm sure as things come out and I see promotionals and then I consider like photography options and stuff like that, sure. But I don't know how that's going to hit right now with some of the stuff that they were releasing. I got to give it a good look over though and really see what it is that appeals to me or doesn't appeal to me, because I know there's going to be stuff I want, because it was like a massive release of stuff. I would rather have a rash on my arms than my pants. Dude, he had to have had a terrible week. Like, oh my gosh. So bad. So bad. So we're going to do storage and G.I. Joe. Let me set this up then. Okay. Okay, I know I have, because I just picked him up. What's that? Oh, okay. Oops. I'm going to do that. What's next to him? What are you? I have him sitting down here. Do I have anything to the side? Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's do that. There, let's try those and see what we get. And I will find something. Okay. Let's see what I get. I gotta move this stuff so I can get to stuff. Oh, well, okay. Sure. Let's talk about these. These are from the old Disney game. I can't remember what it was called. Imagine something or whatever. Anyways, this was like becoming like a big trend for a while where you had these games that were like the Skylanders and things like that. And one Christmas, I thought it would be very cool if I invested in it for me and my kid. Disney Infinity. I just seen it in the chat. That's exactly what it is. So I had a whole bunch of these. Like, I'm talking like boxes of these because for a while, well, I couldn't necessarily get Gwen to play with a lot of toys. Like, she really liked electronics and she liked the idea of building things. She liked the idea, like in Minecraft and things like that. So this was just kind of like a win-win. So what we did was I bought the game and I bought all kinds of packs. Like, I bought like the Frozen pack, a Star Wars pack, a Marvel pack, like all these different things. I had like Darkwing Duck and all kinds of stuff like that. And they came with these little statues, and they were kind of double-ended, if you want the truth of it. We could play the games, because they were like these video games, basically, that were like, they were fine. They were passable video games. So like there's an Avengers game and all that kind of stuff. So we played those. And then what she liked the most was the toy box mode, where it just basically gave you an open area and you could just make stuff. And so we did that a lot, where we'd like build our own cities and stuff like that. But like the game was incredibly lacking. It was neat to like build a city, but then when it was done, you just like had a city. And there really wasn't much to do. You could do things like make some bad guys appear or whatever. I remember there being like something like that, and then I guess you could fight them, but like it was never very challenging or anything. Like neither me nor my kid ever really lost any of those. So we'd be like, here's some bad guys, and the bad guys would show up. You could put the little thing down or whatever and be like, here's this. And then like there'd be like a little thing on the bottom that you could place like another chip on top of that. So you put like a chip and then you put Spider-Man, and then he would be in the black suit, which was cool, but like, why? Like you didn't get anything for it. He just had a black suit and you were in like the toy box mode. So like you didn't get any like special anything about it. We could put down like a chip and like listen to Darkwing Duck intro song. I could drive the Darkwing Duck bike around town, which was fun for like, I don't know, 10 minutes at best. Drive it around, hand the controller to my kid. My kid drives it around. It was very lacking in being like a game, which makes sense. The point was to sell these. Now, you like Groot? Here's a little Groot statue there. Now he's in the game. Oh, you like Star Wars? Here's an Anakin. Now he's in the game. That's pretty much what the game was to sell these little statues, which of course I knew when I was getting into it. My kid played it quite a bit, but even she would bore of it fast. And then she would be like, oh, I'm just going to play with these little toys. And then she'd play with the little toys for a little while. And then that would die off. And then I just ended up, I think there's a ton of these. Here's one. I see a Captain America in here. To be fair, that bled into her wanting to buy Skylander stuff, so I have stuff like that, and I have a Spyro in here somewhere, and I don't know, I'm not going to dig through all that right now, but it's in there. And then, of course, Amiibos got really big, and Amiibos were all over the place, and I have a whole crap ton of Amiibos. Those I did keep. These are done. There's no way. These are going in bags. They'll be sold to somebody that cares for almost free. I don't care. You can give me $1 at the toy table and it'll be yours. I'm not attached to them at all. But we did buy a bunch of the Amiibos when they were coming out too. And so I did keep those. I have the classic Mario where he's actually pixelated. I just think that's cool. That's a cool little statue. I have Mario, Luigi, I have Zelda, I have Sheik. I have all kinds of cool little things like Metroid, and of course I have Samus. I think I have Zero Suit and I have the power armor. So they're cool little statues and they're in my garage. That's where they are. I got a little display that has the flag and whatnot, and then I have a bunch of them in front, and then I have a bunch that are on the stairs, and then one guy's on the pole or whatever. And it's just neat. It's just a little neat display. It's cool. I kept it. Every now and then there's a game that shows up that can use them. If you're playing Skyrim or whatnot, and you use them, you can get treasures, and you can get special armors, and you can get a sword and stuff like that. And then on certain games, if you use 5 of them a day, you can get bonuses and things like that. So we kept them around because they do seem to serve a mild purpose in the ecosystem of Switch in general. There's a lot of games that don't necessarily have amiibos, but will use the amiibos you already have for something, and that's cool, I guess. But realistically, these things are nothing but a money trap. They're trinkets at best. There's a little Captain America, you could put him on your shelf. But let's be honest about something. This guy goes on your shelf and takes up shelf space. And he looks like this. He's this guy here. You're very excited about that guy right there, right? Or you could get a Gamerverse Captain America and put that on your shelf. Or an Anniversary Captain America and put that on your shelf. And one could argue, because of the base this guy has, the Anniversary Captain America will be way cooler and even take less space. The trinket things, the little things that we put around that are little statue things, and they fill the space of stuff that I'd rather collect. Now, if you were somehow still playing this game or whatever, sure. And my kid saw these as toys. That's why we started buying the Skylander things. She never even played the Skylander game once. I went out of my way to buy the stuff one time because she had 15 of these. And she was just playing with these. We'd go to the game store or whatever and be looking around, and she'd go over to the box and be digging through, and she'd be like, "Dad, I found Spyro. Dad, I found this cool Gremlin Man or whatever." And I'd be like, "Whatever. I don't care. It's $5-6. Buy it. Whatever. $3.99. Sure." And then she'd go home and she'd like set them up on the table and she'd have them like walking around or whatever. It's like the closest thing to like playing with toys that she really got. And they would die on her real fast. Like, she'd take them home. The novelty of having it would be cool. She'd play with it for maybe a day. It'd go in the toy box, and that's it, man. It's done. I'd never see that thing again. So I even bought the stuff one time so she could play the game. I don't think the game ever got played even one time. Like, I set it all up, turned the game on, I set the TV up and everything, and I was like, here you go, that's cool, there you go. I think she like put one of the guys on there, walked around for a little while, was like, that's cool. Done. So like, talk about a waste. These were not good games necessarily, and they definitely weren't good toys. They're not exactly great statues. The equivalent of collecting these, arguably, okay? I'm going to liken this to something from my parents' age. In fact, some people that are around my age are probably going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Having this, and this on your shelf is the equivalent of our parents that collected the California raisins. That's what it feels like to me. It's not something staying in the collection. It's very much a memory, something of its time, something that was cool because of when and why, and the experience that I got. It's a memory. And we've said everything in here has to have a story, or it has to go. There has to be a reason. It has to be tied to me in some way, or it doesn't belong here. That makes sense. That maybe some of these would somehow deserve a spot in here, sticking around. I might keep, once I dig a lot of these out, I might keep like the Spyro. And that'd be it. Spyro the Dragon can go on the shelf. He's cool, he's a little gimmick, he ties to that memory, I remember what he is. He also ties to a PlayStation memory, which is far and few between. That's cool. Everything else, they're going to the sales table. No way they're staying. No way. So, Flint and the Grim Viper both won. Okay, that's not bad. So that's these two right here. You could tell Lexi was in here yesterday. What the crap? She was hiding up here yesterday because there were people over for a cookout. And I can tell. Like, she's on parts of my keyboard. And she's like on parts of the mouse. And I found her a little bit in this box. She's a husky. She sheds everywhere. You got to constantly come behind her and vacuum. I could tell she was up here last night. I think for the first time, I'm going to pass on the latest Maximum. I have Secret Wars Black Suit Spider-Man, but I just don't need it. They could have made any other character in that slot. I agree. This is I'm going to say this is the biggest dud in the Masterverse line. Masterverse line. In the Maximum line in general. I agree. Black Suit Spider-Man, I'm not saying there aren't some ways to justify it. And in truth, whatever you want to spend your money on, it's your money, your memories, your fun. What are you going to do? Save your money and take it with you to death? Come on, guys. Don't be that guy. Let somebody have fun. But on a personal level, I can't see the justification on my end. Now, if you really want the really cool web, if you want the backpack, if you want the gun, if you want the symbiote thing, because you could set that in like a laboratory setting and whatnot for like pictures, and you can have him standing around with your Fantastic Four guys holding it or something like that, or you can combine that where the one that's like already changing into the symbiote is holding that bottle or something. That's pretty cool. Like, there's cool picture ideas in those items. But if you already have the Secret Wars Spider-Man black suit, I don't understand. Like, I don't see an upgrade here. I mean, yeah, the maximum body is fantastic. I mean, it really is. If this thing, I'll be honest this way. If they release this, and a lot of people feel the way I do, and it kind of goes under, and this one ends up on sale, like marked 49% off or whatever, I'd buy it. I'll do it then. If it gets marked to like half price or something like that, you could probably see me buying a maximum black suit Spider-Man. But at release price, for what it is, what it offers, and what I already have, and the not upgrade to the shelf it would be, I personally can't. There's just nothing there for me. Sometimes the art style doesn't transfer to figures as well as some others. Right. I'm passing on that green and yellow Marvel Games Wolverine. Yeah, I am too. As much as I want the Bone Claws, which I do, and Psylocke's Crimson Dawn head, which that would be neat, not going to slam down $60 for that. And then the other thing, I didn't look, are the Bone Claws blue? Because if they're not, you could only have the Bone Claws in the green. And I don't like that color scheme on him. The yellow and green, I don't like that. So, like, that does nothing for me. Like, nothing. I will be getting that Scarlet Witch Vision 2-pack only for Scarlet Witch, because that's my favorite look for her. That Iron Man and Spiral 2-pack and Mole Man Moloids. I saw the Iron Man. He evidently is a brand new body. People are telling me he has butterflies and all kinds of stuff, and that he's bigger than the one that I thought he may be, so he's not necessarily a repackage. She might be a repackage. I haven't heard anybody verify one way or another with that. She may be slightly repainted, and that's like it. But she's such a good figure. I kind of want that, like, said, because, like, realistically, if you didn't get a chance to get that Spiral, she is a feat of engineering for them. Like, she is impressive. They really pulled off something with her. But, like, if you already have it, just getting another one, you're not going to do anything with multiple Spirals. Like, I have my Spiral on that shelf because it makes sense, because, like, she's Spiral and she's part of that game and that works, but, like, I'm not going to put another one on that shelf, and I'm not going to put her up on that shelf because, like, what? That doesn't really serve much of a purpose. I don't have all the other guys that would, like, go with her, and I'm not about to go out of my way to buy them either. It would be really cool to have a Mojo, but I'm not going to go out of my way yet. So, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. That one, that's a hard buy for me. But I fully understand buying the look of the figure that you want. 100%. Even if you got to buy something that doesn't necessarily excite you. Like, I had to buy that Black Widow. I'm fine to have a Black Widow on the shelf. That's fair. Even if she's one of the more boring costume designs that she's ever had. But I wanted that Quicksilver. I wanted the blue and white. That is how I think he looked the best. Like, of all the looks he's ever had, that one, I just like that look a lot. I just think he's so cool like that. And one could argue that if he's moving super fast and he's blue and white, maybe it causes a silver glare as he runs, which would be really cool, which even plays to his name. Like, I just think that's so cool. So, like, I like that costume a lot. I understand buying the look you want. But, like, that's... These recolors are going to be tough sales. I'm seeing a lot of people that are already calling that they're passing on it. And yeah, the hands with the bone claws, they are green, which means your bone claws Wolverine will be yellow and green. Yeah. Sure, you could paint them. But, like, yeah. The head sculpt is new for Spiral. So basically, it's kind of like what they did with Thanos. But I didn't have a Thanos, so getting video game Thanos was perfect for me because that's how I discovered that character existed in the first place, was playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So, like, it works for me. Maybe it would work for somebody else that's how they discovered Spiral was even a thing, and that's very cool for them. I don't know. Some of these I'm going to be playing games here. Like, do I really want that Iron Man? Like, because I feel like if I want a more classic variant Iron Man on the shelf, he's the one that makes the most sense for me. But then again, he's Iron Man, and I don't really care that much. I don't know. I swear you were going to say Precious Moments instead of California Raisins. No, see, when I grew up, and I don't know what it was like for everybody else, my dad had a set of California Raisins. My stepmom had a set of California Raisins. My mom had a set of California Raisins. My grandpa had a set of California Raisins. My grandma had a set of California Raisins. Like, I saw those things everywhere. I had a set of California Raisins. They used to sell them at Hardee's. When I was growing up, and like I said, maybe we'll, because like I said, at 42, there are things that I've experienced that a separation of even 5 years between two people, we may have had drastically different childhoods depending on where you were, different things like that. That changes what was on TV. It changes life experiences and things like that. And the California Raisins, like I said, you used to go down to Hardee's and get them. I don't know if you even remove yourself 5 years from that timeline, what would have been at Hardee's, you know what I mean? Because that's different. Like, nothing. It's interesting to me to look back on my life on this context specifically. A lot of people in their 40s, 50s, and late 30s grew up in a world, you could say all the way into their 30s, but they grew up in a world where television was what happened to be on at the time. And they grew up in a world where things like the toys that were at the, Happy Meal place were what they were at the time. And once they were gone, that was it. They were gone. This is gone. Once it wasn't on TV, it wasn't on TV. It's going to be interesting to hear childhood memories of people that are only like, I don't know, 19, 20 years old now, that got to grow up with streaming. That, like, because Gwen grew up in a time where in my household, we had DVDs and we had streaming. We didn't have television. In fact, we still don't have television. Like, I have not had television in my house her entire life. I've never had where you plug in the coaxial or you have the box or you flip the channels. I've never had it. I do not have TV. And I have never had TV ever. For her entire life, she has never been a part of commercialized television where you watch what's on because that's what's on at the time that it's on and you deal with the commercials. She's had Netflix, she's had Hulu, she's had HBO, she's had Disney, she's streaming apps. And she's had a wall of DVDs and things of that nature. So, like, shared experiences that we had where we say something like, oh my God, I used to watch the real Ghostbusters, or Batman after school, or I played these specific video games because that's what was out at the time, because that's also changing. Now they have extensive libraries. Think of a kid that grows up that's in their 20s now. And think of a parent who, of course, would probably be in their upper 40s or somewhere in there, right? That parent grew up with things like Nintendo. So what was there? There was Nintendo. That was it. So the shared experience was we played Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. That's it. That's it. It gets no more complicated than that. We all remember renting games. We all remember things like Shaq Fu. There's a shared experience there where we go, oh my gosh, dude, I played that game. I rented it, blah, 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 this and that. There's a shared life experience at that moment. That doesn't exist if I grew up and I still have all of my games and then I have a kid. My kid has access to an extensive library of content that they can play constantly. Maybe there's a shared experience that they played Minecraft or something like that. Maybe there are shared experiences across things like they play Overwatch or something, right? Like, I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I'm not saying they won't have childhood memories, but it'll be very different from the shared ultra life experience. When we talk about TV, we could talk about exact Saturday mornings, exact things that were on, that played in exact ways, at exact times, on exact channels, that we all were exposed to. You could talk about Ren and Stimpy, Animaniacs, Doug, like all of these like shows that existed that pretty much everybody was watching. Rugrats, like there's like these cultural iconic things that you can bring up. Nicktoons, you watch Hey Arnold or whatever, right? All of this is like a shared experience across an entire generation. When kids get into their 20s and start talking about things they watched as kids, though, it's going to be interesting because they all had streaming and they could just pick whatever they wanted to watch. And that almost guarantees that nobody was watching the same stuff. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I used to watch Aladdin before school every day. I used to watch Pokemon. Dragon Ball Z was on when I got home from school. All of those activities, those shared experiences, do not exist for an entire generation of kids that's about to start talking about that. That is wild to me. It really is. Because it makes me wonder how different their conversations are going to be. It really does. Sometimes I think about it. I wonder what Gwen's childhood memories are going to be. Like, what is it going to be like when she starts saying, oh yeah, when I grew up, I loved this thing or that. And it's going to be incredibly different for her to connect with somebody. Like, she doesn't just go, oh yeah, all of us were playing this or watching this or doing this all at the same time because that's what was there. She doesn't have Ninja Turtles. She has, I watched Yokai Watch for like a month. And then I found a different show. I'll be very interested to hear how those conversations start coming in. Because I'll hear them through things like YouTube and whatnot. I'll hear when people say things like, oh yeah, I grew up with this or whatever. And it'll be interesting to hear all that come in. It really will. I know it's never going to happen for any of us. But have you seen the Caustic Plastic Conan yet? I know you're a big Conan guy. No. No, I haven't. What are you talking about? Oh, that? No, okay, I have seen that. Yes. Holy crap. That is wild. Like, it's one of those seamless bodies. It looks exactly like Arnold. It has, like, the actual rooted hair. That is insanity. That is insanity. Would I be buying it? No. It's way out of my price range, I am sure. But wow, that is crazy. That is unreal. I say if you want that Iron Man, that's the only way is retro. That's the only way. The retro is expensive on the aftermarket because it came with the Canon. This one is better because it has the butterfly joints and it's bigger. I would agree. California here. I won't tolerate California raisin slander in this house. We won't eat. We also won't eat California raisins or put them in anything either. Oh man, we had them everywhere, man. SDCC makes my wallet cry. I understand. It's a tough time for people like us, right? I still remember the moose mascot for Hardee's. Although I also remember when they came out with the Monster Burger, because that's how Dude, I'm being serious here. I went to Hardee's a couple days ago, and I stared at the Monster Burger on the menu. And I kept thinking, I could get one of those. I used to eat those. And then I passed on it. Like, that feels like too much burger for me now. Like, I don't know. Like, I just eat a lot less than I used to eat. Like, a lot less, substantially. And it's not just, like, diet-wise. I don't know what has happened. If it's just a matter of getting older or what. But, like, I used to kick through an entire pizza by myself. Like, we used to get, like, the family pack pizzas, and we used to be like, here's your pizza, here's my pizza. And it wasn't like you ate half of it. You, like, ate the whole pizza and then, like, played video games. And you drank your whole 2-liter by yourself. And I remember doing that, and now, like, I can't do that. Like, I don't know what it is, but lately I can't do it. Like, and the Monster Burger seems too much burger all of a sudden, comparatively to what I remember. I used to get that large with the curly fries and then go up and get a shake. There's no way. I have a feeling I can't get away with it now. But I was looking at it because I remember I used to really like that burger. And the moose. Holy crap. The moose, man, that is wild. I remember when Hardee's used to sell fried chicken. Like actual, like, buckets of fried chicken. Wondering if there's going to be a throne for the Princess of Mars. Oh, don't do that to me. Don't have me buying more thrones, Keaton. My cousin had a Dreamcast. There were 2 guys I knew that had Dreamcasts. One was a buddy of mine who his mom actually let him take the day off of school to go get it and play it all day. And I remember we were all, like, talking about it at school, like, why's Mike not here? Because Mike went to get the Dreamcast. He's playing Dreamcast all day. And we were, like, all like, what? His parents are so cool. So, like, I remember that. And then I also, there was one other person that had a Dreamcast. One of my buddies had a Dreamcast. Like, that's it. I can't. It's not like a normal thing to even, like, I know people talk about the Dreamcast now like it was everywhere. Like, they're like, it was the gamer system, blah, blah, blah. And I hear all this, like, hard nostalgia around it, but it's weird because in my area where I grew up, there were 2 Dreamcasts in the neighborhood. That is it. 2. Done. You had to, like, go out of your way to find somebody to play Dreamcast with. For that matter, Saturn was kind of the same, but yeah. Nickelodeon turns 50 in 2029. 50. Yeah, because it's not that much older than I am. Yeah. Oh man, Batman, Superman will finally meet world's finest. Oh man, who is the White Ranger? Who is the White Ranger events like that? Batman and Superman will finally meet world's finest. Oh man, who is the White Ranger? I'm not sure if I understood the question that has just been posed. Oh, there we go. Fixed it. I remember coming home from school one day and turning on Tiny Toon Adventures. I remember that. Yeah. They were doing the music video for Particle Man. Every person I've mentioned this to has the exact same experience. That's what I'm talking about. Right there. That is a generational experience. Just like with the Animaniacs and the States song, when they talk about all the countries and continents and things like that. That's like a thing that you can remember as like a big cultural, like everybody knew it. Everybody'd seen it. Everybody lived it. That is not going to be a thing in the next generation of kids that start talking nostalgia. I'm very interested to see how their nostalgia works as compared to our nostalgia and how it works. In Tiny Toon Adventures, Particle Man, for some reason we were all there at the same time. Right. I'm pumping my fists in the air because my boy Ghost Rider is getting a new movie and I saw that. That's crazy. I'm here for it. I'm surprised. I'm here for it. I'm wishing him the best of luck. I think he can do it. Half a burger with your friend. You know what? I would. To do a Monster Burger again, just to like have it like that experience again, because dude, I loved the Monster Burger. That and the $6 burger. Those were two burgers that I really liked from Hardee's back when I was growing up. I would split one with a friend just to have one again and not have to sit here and worry about how I feel after eating all of it. Curious question. If a toy company made a licensed character, can they re-release the same thing once it's public domain? Oh, that's interesting. That is legit an interesting question. I don't know the legal logistics of that. Because once it hits public domain, like you could just print a book. Like I could get a collection of stories that are in public domain and I could print a book. Nobody could stop me. It's in the public domain. I mean, anybody could just make, like, because there's weird things that you got to consider are also in the public domain by default, like an orc. Do you want to create an orc toy? You just want a big orc? You can just do that. That's just a public domain entity. It's just a thing. You can just make a random orc and be like, check it out, here's an orc. You can make an elf. You can make a barbarian. These are just public things, public concepts, public domain. I'm looping it into the same thing because nobody could stop you from doing it. That does make an interesting amount of sense. If He-Man went public domain, could any random person with the money and ability or the Kickstarter just bring the toy line back and make He-Man because like it's public domain? That, I've never thought about that ever. Because once the license is public domain, it's just pretty much like it's there for the public. You can listen to that music. You can watch those movies. You can download those books. Nothing about it is illegal. You could download that book and then literally print it and sell it. And if somebody wants to give you the money, it's not really illegal. Heck, they do it all the time. They're like, hey, here's 50 horror movies in one DVD box set. And all that is one company was like, hey, what's all that? Oh, that's all public domain. Okay, take all these 50 movies, put them on discs, act like it's a good deal, use the most famous picture of something in the front, and sell it. And then they sell it at Walmart and people buy it. I've done it. I've bought those like 100 horror movies and then like watched, just went through them. And some of them I'm like, this is crazy good, like for its time. And then other ones I'm like, oh, I see why nobody bothered to keep this one in the. But can you do that with toys? That's very interesting. I've never thought of that before. Literally ever. I was the only person I knew that had a Dreamcast. Right, going back to exactly what I say. Right. I only had it because I was in a commercial, and that's what I chose to spend my money on. Dang, look at this star here, man. That's awesome, though, dude. That's awesome. When you had events like White Ranger showing up. Oh, okay. Oh, snap. FigArts just revealed a Doomsday Doom figure. Really? Dude, there's so much that's piling up on us right now. It's gonna be, dude, so much. This SDCC, man, it's tough. It's tough for us. Let's open one of these. Grim Viper. This is one of the few Joes I had when I was a kid. This is not the color scheme that I wanted. I wanted the purple one, but I didn't jump on it. And then it was gone. And then it was aftermarket. And then it was expensive. And then it was hard to find. And then my wife came across the other color variant at a random store. I can't remember. She went on like a trip, and then she called me. I was out walking the dog, and she was like, what are you doing? Can you look at toys? And I was like, I can always look at toys. So I'm walking the dog and holding my phone and trying to keep it so that my eyes are here on the phone, but I gotta kind of look past so I make sure that the dog's not walking into anything. So I'm walking like this, it's a very awkward, yeah, I do want that. Yeah, that's really cool. So I remember that. That's where I got Batgirl and a couple of things that day. She bought me three figures that day. She bought me a King Randor, which awesome. She bought me a Batgirl, which awesome. Not the greatest Batgirl, but she put one on the shelf, and I'm happy for that. And she got me this, a childhood memory. Not exact. It's not the purple one, but Grim Viper. I'm fine with that. When I was growing up, I had Joes. And we've talked about this before. The way that Joes worked for me was I would see a G.I. Joe at a store. I would think it was cool. I would make up the storyline on the spot, and I would buy it. They went no deeper than that. I didn't watch the show. I didn't read the comics. I didn't know anything about this property. They were cool guys, which had stories because of the personality that was presented, and that was it. This guy, I didn't think that was the mask when I was growing up. I thought that what they were doing was that the soldiers that had died, that were serving Cobra or whatever, would be collected on the battlefield. And then there was a procedure they could do where they would they basically remove all the skin or whatever, and they'd plug things into the brain and reanimate like a zombie drone soldier. That's what I thought was going on here. I'm pretty sure this is a dude in a really cool mask. But that is not the way I seen it when I was growing up. I had one of these guys, and that's what I would always say. If one of my heroes or something like that, when we were playing, if he was out on the battlefield or whatever and he happened to get taken out, I would then have Cobra collect his body and basically reanimate him as one of these guys or whatever. And so you never knew. It was very close to being what I witnessed in the Shadow Robots on Mega Man 3. You go in and it's the end of Mega Man 3, and all of a sudden, like, there's this, like, robot that you've never seen before in a stage that you've already beat, and it, like, downloads the property or whatever of one of the robot masters you beat in an old game, and then you end up having to fight that robot master. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like that's what was going on. So if you ran into this guy, if somehow they killed Snake Eyes, and then they reanimated him as one of these Vipers, like, by the time you realized you were dealing with a reanimated Snake Eyes, which had almost the same abilities, a little less because he was dead. Like, that's the way I played it. That's the way I thought these guys worked. That was my headcanon growing up for the Grim Viper. It was that. And that's the way it was, man. I went to the store, I seen it, I came up with my own story, and I used it. I don't know, even today, because I haven't come across them in the comic books or anything like that, what the Grim Viper actually is, aside from a dude in a really cool helmet. That's it. So, that is my headcanon for the Grim Vipers. Let's open them. All right. Here's Grim Viper. And look, man, that face, that helmet, that exposed brain matter thing, this is like 100% exactly why I had the feeling I did about him. Like, and then even now, like I said, I don't know the actual headcanon for this guy. I do know that this is playing difficulties. But, like, I noticed that there's, like, a thing that plugs into the back. See, even this, I still would have kept the same storyline, even grown up today. If I'd have been born today and I was just getting Joe's and I was still doing it the same way. Look, there's even a wire that plugs into the back of that helmet. And I know it's a helmet because I'm old enough to know that that's just a helmet now. But, like, that would still fit my storyline. Maybe something in here is exactly what specifically keeps the guy, like, you know... He's got his gun here. I love that they can actually carry everything. I know I say that a lot, but, like, it is so cool. Like, if you grew up when I did, and you remember that all of these, like, weapons that used to be on these guys, like, they weren't actually on these guys. They were there, but you couldn't, like, take them off. They weren't, like, part of anything. This dude is sick looking, man. I don't know if I love the vest. I don't know what's under the vest. But I mean, I get it. Like, this, dude, this is sick. I like how it turns, but, like, aside from, like, literally a childhood gimmick, it would have been cool, like, if I was playing and I would have been like... But, like, today, it spins, but it doesn't serve any real purpose for me. Like, it's just neat, I guess. But this is so sick. I love this, man. Come on, open your hand. Move your thumb, guy. He didn't come with extra hands. So he has a trigger finger hand on both sides, which is fine. It's allowing me to do what I want it to do. But it is like one of the only things that I can really call out is it would have been nice to have, like, a grip hand to guarantee that that's what holds the top, and a trigger finger hand to guarantee that that's... So it would have given you an absolute form for how to handle it. He should have come with two hands, and that's about it. Otherwise, I don't really know what this backpack does, what it is. It certainly doesn't, like, because there's this kind of chain gun in general. It's it's fed here, so it's not like it's not like it has, you know what I'm getting at? So this minigun here, it has all the bullets down here and it doesn't have them as a chain that feeds back into this backpack. So that's not how he's carrying his ammo. I don't claim to know 100% how that works or what's going on here, but this guy is going to be sick on the shelf. Like, he's just so unique, dude. That helmet is cool. Do I like the green more than the purple? No. This green makes more sense, practically, in a real world scenario. Though this is G.I. Joe, so come on, how real world are we trying to get here? You're talking about a series with like lasers and friggin' bubble ships and like, you get what I'm saying? Like, we're stretching reality with every single character that we release anyway. There's a very sci-fi nature to G.I. Joe. Some people like it because it's more like soldiers and whatnot, and that's what they're here for. And some people like it because it's a very sci-fi thing, and that's what they're here for. And that's fine. That's good. It's going to speak to different people in different ways. I do kind of like a grounded sci-fi. I like this a lot. It's grounded enough, but it's creepy and it's sci-fi and it's out there. This is kind of where I make my home with it. Like, I like the ninjas and things like that. I think that's cool, modern day ninjas and things. This gun is heavy. I'm already noticing a problem here, though. He's going to need a stand. And of course, these ones don't come with stands. The classic ones in the retro cards come with stands. He needs a stand. Like, I'm trying to set him up, and that gun, it's pulling him forward. And his ankles are not supporting. I got him to stand up. I could do it. I'll have to go find a stand for him because he's going to need a stand, but he is really, really, really cool. Let's go back to the chat here, see what's going on. I didn't have the Dreamcast, but my dad had the Sega Genesis game. Game I remember he played for the first time was Moonwalker. Michael Jackson kicking open doors to find kids. Yes. Yes. And if we're going to call that game out real quick, he didn't kick the doors to open them, if you remember right. He spun, got on his tippy toes, thrust his crotch out, said woo, and the doors opened for him and revealed kids. So that game is even worse than you remember. I can make a Dracula movie public domain. Yeah. You can. If it's in the public domain, like, that's the reason there's so many like Frankenstein concepts and whatnot out there, is because there's nothing stopping you. Once Frankenstein is in the public domain, you can alter it, change it, play with it, make it whatever you want, and re-release it. And that's the reason we see things like, when things go public domain, they pretty much immediately become horror movies, because, like, what if we took this children's property to the absolute extreme? That's why you see that. And there's nothing really stopping you from doing it. Yeah. I was just thinking that Frankenstein and Dracula from Universal Studios go public domain next year. So could a toy company reissue a previous line? I don't see that they can't. Maybe this gets a little bit complicated, because while it goes public domain, the property may go public domain while certain looks and whatnot are still under copyright, and then that gets a little complicated. So maybe certain looks, certain ideas are public, but certain looks and certain ideas are still kind of trapped in the term. So it's tough to determine exactly where that sits and how it all works. And you almost need a lawyer to like literally tell you, okay, this is the things that you could play with and this is the things you can't. And our entire copyright system needs a rework. Period. It needs a rework. And I think fair would be, this is going to sound like a big number, but I think this is fair, realistically. 50 years. You make a product, you have 50 years to capitalize on it, 50 years to make money on it, 50 years for the idea to be exclusive, 50 years to play with it. Then it goes public domain, and all of it is public domain. Not, hey, we changed the look from like, this is what he looked like in 1930, but then we changed the look ever so slightly in 35. So we have another 35 years. We have another 5 years or whatever that we could play with. No. You made it. You copyrighted it. It's a property. You had 50 years. You did everything you could. Now it is public domain. That, I think, realistically is fair. That is enough time for you to make it in your 30s or 40s, capitalize on it, all the way into your kids growing up, basically create generational wealth off a very good idea, and then that idea goes to the public that makes it what it is from that point forward. And so what if $1 million corporations and businesses miss out on something because of that? And so what if properties like Superman and whatnot actually do have to grow up, age, change, bring in new characters, and die and become part of their time? Listen, I don't want things like Conan to go away. I already know that getting into Conan was circumstance at best for me growing up. The fact that I read those books is wild to me because they were produced before I was even born. So if nobody had ever promoted them the way that they promoted them, maybe I would have never read it. Maybe I would have never been into it. That's very possible. However, that doesn't change my opinion that now this far into the future, anybody should be able to write a Conan story. And no, just in case somebody's going to call me out on that one, you cannot. There are massive, massive stipulations as to how the copyright works with the Conan license and public domain and so on and so forth. It's incredibly complicated. I will not go into it here. Just know that I have looked up some of it because I did have ideas. I don't know if I'm going to play any of those out, but I had to speak with some people that knew more than I did to explain what I could and couldn't get away with. Because I had the ideas. Now with that, just so you get it, the issue here that I'm proposing, which I will never have the power to make this happen, I propose that if you made something and it was a property and it was yours and you created it, you did a book, you did a series, you did a comic, you did a character, 50 years. I think that's a fair number. You could outlive your property and then you could literally say you made something at 22 and it was very popular and you had 50 years to play with it and it was yours and you had control of it and it was your copyright, your company, your stuff. Once it's done, 50 years, you could watch the public take it from that point and do what they were going to do with it and maybe do something better than you ever dreamed or maybe screw it up. But you're not going to be here to worry about it for that much longer anyway because you're like 70-something years old. So, like, you've had your chance to play with it. I do not understand where the copyrights are so messed up that now, like, copyrights can hold for, like, 100 years. Like, you're not even alive. And your kids had nothing to do with the creation. Like, we need a rework of copyright. And that is my proposal and has been for many years now. I think 50 years is fair. I think it's more than fair. And that should be the end of it. And it should not be tied to things like what I'm seeing right here. You could make Steamboat Willie versus Winnie the Pooh. Mickey will never go public domain and that's the truth. That's the truth, because our system is so broken. But realistically, by what I propose, not that it's law and not that it ever will be, but I would say that, like, while you can use Steamboat Willie, I think that's a cop-out. I think after 50 years, Steamboat Willie is determined to be Mickey Mouse, and we all know this, and 100%. So at 50 years past, Mickey Mouse should go public domain. That includes Steamboat Willie and Mickey and every design that was ever created for that character into the public domain. Now it's ours to play with. And that's, I think, the way it should actually work. I have no power here, but that's what I honestly believe. I think 50 years would be a very, very, very fair public domain time. They just revealed some Hasbro Marvel Legends Avengers Doomsday figures. Oh! I like how Gambit looks. I can make a Mickey Mouse vs. Winnie the Pooh movie public domain. Kind of. But yeah, just right back to what he was saying. You can't use Mickey, because if you use Mickey, you'll get sued. Kind of like very soon you'll be able to use Conan, but not all of Conan, but just like the first iteration, the concept of him. So like you can use Sandals young, not public, not the way people picture him, but like the way that he was kind of like, it's very complicated. I think I got Storm Arena Fever. Pre-order Ryu, Ankin, Zangief, Akuma, and dang! I skipped Zangief, but I really did consider it this time because he does look really good. But I'm Jada in, and I'm finishing that line. So I'm doing my Zangief Jada. Akuma does look good, but I don't think he looks any better than the Akuma that I got from Jada, realistically. His head sculpt, arguably, maybe a little bit better. Doesn't matter. The Ryu and Kin, I see it constantly, and I constantly go back and forth with whether or not I want that. I have a Kin and a Ryu. Do I want a young Kin and a Ryu? Not necessarily. But sometimes I do want young Kin, because I like that really long hair. But then I talk myself out of it, so I don't do it. Lilith from Darkstalkers, the second it came out, I was like, give me that, thank you, bye. And I'm very much waiting for Morgan and how far this is going to go. And I saw a couple of King of Fighters that are out that I didn't know were out, and I almost bought them, but I have not played a King of Fighters since PlayStation 2. The last one released on PlayStation 2 was the last King of Fighters I played seriously. And I just bought the newest one for the PlayStation 5, so I will be getting back into King of Fighters. Who knows? Maybe that might spark my interest and put me back and make me be like, oh, dude, I do like this guy or whatever. I don't know. We'll see how that hits me, if they're still available. But yeah, I can understand that. I got UK FOMO from Walmart Street Fighter 2 2-pack. Let's see. Yes. Gaps in my Jada Street Fighter figures. I can have Storm Arena Player 2 gaps. Right. Like, dude, so much of this. There's so much out there right now, dude. And so much of it is good, too. Let's see here. Let's do... Oh! Okay, let's run... Oh, yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's try that there, and oh my. There. Let's see how that hits us, shall we? Storm Collectibles hinted we are getting more. Jada and Karis from Darkstalkers are next. Really? Okay. I'm wondering how far I'll go in on that. really do. I really do. Valkyrie of the North, my thoughts. Before I answer, let's guarantee that I know what you're talking about. Have I not seen this? Oh, I think I know what you're. Are you talking about the Fury body, the Saifa or whatever? Because if you're talking about her, the Wonder Woman looking warrior lady that's coming out, holy crap, she looks good. Like, if that's what you are talking about, holy crap, she looks good. I want that. First off, I don't have a Fury body. That was one of the things that, like, I didn't know 100%. Every time they release a body, I'm skeptical. I'm like, would I like this? Would I do anything with it? Would it just end up being a naked female on the shelf? Like, sure, I like naked girls like any other guy, but, like, what am I going to do with that, realistically? Aside from maybe some good fantasy art here and there. Like, but then I don't know what one to get. Like, I'm like, is that one move well enough? Does it have the right body proportions? Am I gonna like that? Am I gonna not like that? Like, how far do I go with that? What kind of shots am I gonna do? I don't know. And so then I kind of get hung up on it and I do nothing with it and I don't buy it. The Fury body came out, and that Fury body is sick. It is so good. I regret not jumping on it when I had the chance. I'm going to keep my eye open for when they come back up because the Fury bodies look fantastic. I think they're pretty much exactly what I want for the kind of shots and the things that I would do and the customs I would want to make. She's on the Fury body. She looks spectacular. And she looks like a really cool, like, new take on a Wonder Woman type of thing. Like, and you know I'm into that. The head sculpt is very much a Wonder Woman that I could swap to other things if I choose to use the Fury body outside of that. Like, absolutely, 100%, I'm on it. Yes, I want that. I want that. I don't know when it's going to go live or what they're going to do or what it's going to cost. But that Valkyrie of the North, she looks fantastic. I'm 100% on board with that. They are doing Victory and Felicia. Let Darkstalkers Return be filled with glorious purpose. Dude, Felicia's going to sell like crazy. There's no way she's not. I can't wait till you finally get your Wonder Woman. It's on the way. The first one is finally on the way. I got the classic one, and I got the email that says that it is processing. It is on the way. So one of them is finally coming. But the Wonder Woman I've been waiting for, that's in like September, I think. Let's talk about that McFarlane Elite Witchblade. Gotta be honest, not the version I wanted. Yes. Does Bill like Witchblade? Did he grow up with Witchblade? Did he like Witchblade more than probably even some of your average people that just know that she's essentially an underwear model? Let me explain something to you about Witchblade. On my desk, I have a couple of books that stay on the desk. Witchblade is a property from my era that I was taken with. This artwork, this design, this concept, this thing right here, this, even my bookmark that I made for this book is specifically a laminated picture from Witchblade. I have read this 4 different times. I have all of this, not just this, but this book often sits right here on this desk because I go through it every couple years. I like Witchblade. a lot. I have always seen it as part of its time. That being said, that's important. Witchblade is a property of its time. I would not sit here and tell you that it's some of the best writing I've ever seen. It is not. I would not sit here and tell you that it's some of the best. The editor was not doing his job. If you've read this at the rate that I've read it, you know that sometimes the bubbles that are there, they're like wrong. Like you'll read it and you know how comics normally work, and you'll read it and then you'll read it and be like, wait, what? No, well that bubble is responding to this bubble. What's going on? That's wrong. That's the editor, somebody not doing their job, not proofreading and not catching it. There's some 90s crap in here where sometimes things are like just like weirdly phrased, or the stories just don't make sense. They just happen and they're incredibly cliche. That's in there. There is some real cheesecake happening in this Witchblade. There's some very standout, sweet stuff in Witchblade. It is a property of its time. 100%. Part of that is why I like it. Sometimes the flaws, I don't want them to fix it. Like I just complained, I don't want them to fix it. Personally, that is part of the era it was released in. That is part of the quick editing that was being done at the time. That is part of trying to get this property out there and make it be something amongst the giants it was competing with. And sometimes the covers and the lady herself were the only thing pushing the book. Why did 80% of the people, I could probably go higher than that. Let me pump that up to 90%. Why did 90% of people reading Witchblade buy Witchblade? Those covers. Those covers, that character, that look, that design, that! It wasn't because we were intrigued by the story. Not at first. I'm not saying you didn't get into the story and then start buying the books because you actually wanted to know what was going on. That happens when you invest in a book, but something got you to buy it. Was it the fact that they released a couple of issues alongside Wizard Magazine? And if you were reading Wizard Magazine and all of a sudden there was this really crazy armored bombshell lady on the front, and you liked her, and then they gave you a free book, and you read it, and you were like, this is actually kind of neat. Was it Michael Turner artwork that may have caught your attention? This is a product of its time, sold the way it was sold, made the way it was made, marketed the way it was marketed. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is what it is. And I don't need a censorship or a fix or a correction. I need it to be what it was. It's Witchblade. It's fine. Now, McFarlane announces that he's going to do a Witchblade for the Elite line. And I had a feeling it was going to be modern Witchblade. I just had a feeling. From the beginning, I said, back when we very first talked about her, I said, ooh, that's what I want. I want this, a 90s Witchblade. But I had a feeling then that that wasn't what we were going to get. And now, here we are, with an Elite looking us in the face. And that Elite is not what I want. I will be more than likely, if I see it at a Walmart in person and it blows my mind, maybe. And maybe for the idea that if we've got Witchblade, there's a real chance that the Darkness is coming. And don't I want Witchblade and the Darkness standing next to each other on the shelf? Kind of, yes. And the only figure I have that's a Witchblade on the shelf is a very, 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 very old toy. She's right there. She's incredibly old. I don't even know if I can zoom in. It might zoom in too much. Oh, it just barely etched her out because she's right there. So I can't even show her to you. But I have a very, very old figure on the shelf. And that's it. I have the books. I have a figure. I would love to have a more modern day figure on the shelf of Witchblade, but not the modern Witchblade. I have some of the modern books. They're fine. I haven't read enough to give my actual opinion. I think I've read one volume of the new stuff. So, not enough that I can give a real opinion as to what I think about it. I fell out of Witchblade shortly after this. Like, when I was reading Witchblade, Lara Croft was part of Witchblade. So, that's the era I'm talking about. I was reading it when I was reading Lara Croft, Magdalena, Witchblade. Like, all these were kind of like an interlinked thing. Like, Lara Croft actually hung out and actually got infected at one point and killed by a property. Like, there was a thing that took over her body and made her like an enemy, basically, and the Witchblade had to kill Lara Croft. Like, remember, that was an entire storyline back then? Like, wild stuff was going on back in the 90s. It was edgy. Like, if you tell me you're going to sell me a Witchblade to sum up everything I've just set up, I want it to be the original first design Witchblade. Nothing else even comes close. Nothing. Modern Witchblade? Sure. Anime Witchblade? Sure. You can like them, but it's not iconic. It's not. If you're going to sell me 5 Spider-Man, what's the Spider-Man I want first? The red and blue. Webs. Eyes. That's what I want. That's the first and foremost one I want. If I have to pick between 5 of them, I have nothing on the shelf, and I want something to start my Spider-Man collection, I want the original classic suit. If you're going to sell me 5 Ninja Turtle designs, what do I want? The ones I grew up with. If you're going to sell me a Superman and there's 5 costume designs on Superman, what do I want? I want the classic Superman costume. I want the icon first. That's the way I see it. I think they screwed up here big time. You announced Witchblade. Elite. You sold a decently classic Spawn. Like, the way people pretty much picture it as the classic look of Spawn. Like, yeah, it's not perfect, but you knew what you were doing. You went for the look that made the sense. Like, I don't understand. You just sold a Savage Dragon. You sold Dark Hawk. Like, why? Why choose the modern Witchblade? Why choose? That doesn't make sense to me. I think you messed up big time here, McFarlane, and you can't afford these screw-ups for an Elite line. And you can't afford these screw-ups when you're losing the DC license. Everything you make now has to make waves. And this Witchblade, I promise you, she will not make the waves that a classic Witchblade would have made. I think you messed up big time. Big time. This was stupid. And if you think that the idea was sell the modern one and there'll be a variant that you can pick up that is the classic one, then you really messed up because you're going to make a lot of people mad with a variant that's going to be nearly impossible to find. I think you messed up. I think this was a screw up. Stupid. Stupid. Yeah. I don't understand it. I don't. I can't get behind it. Yes, the Wonder Woman look for that body is epic. I like the anime of Witchblade more than the TV series. That's fair. I bought that TV series because I was excited that there was like a Witchblade for TV. It was fine at best. Witchblade was good, but I preferred The Darkness before drifting over to Danger Girl by J. Scott Campbell. Yeah, I get that. A lot of people really do like The Darkness, and you know that's gotta be coming, right? But like, if I want to put The Darkness next to a Witchblade, I want the classic one. It's the dark and edgy Bill likes Witchblade. Jada killed it at SDCC. Yes, from what I'm understanding, they did, yes. But Tomb Raider Witchblade was great fun. Yes, it really was. What you reading, Vampirella? Why? Shows off the character. I mean, look, I don't know a single person in my life that would answer me realistically that they said they read Vampirella, and I said, Why'd you buy Vampirella? Just really into vampires? You like all the vampire mythology? You really think the story grips you and you're like a sci-fi guy and whatnot? Or did you see that cover on the shelf? What made you buy Vampirella? What started your like of that character? Because I know what it was. Yes, that is my only Jada. Wizard made the Toy Fair magazine, and I managed to order the mail-away Skeletor from the mag as a Matty Collector first release. That's wild. That's so cool. It's been so many years since I've even seen a Wizard. Is that the More Collectibles Witchblade figure? Dude, that figure's so old, I don't remember what one it is anymore. Like, I really don't. This is my Witchblade that I have on the shelf. This is her. This is my very old figure. It has been on the shelf for so long. I don't remember when I got this, when I opened it, where it came from. Nothing. This is it. It's been here for a long time. She needs a stand. She cannot stand up. Her legs are impossible. But she's been on the shelf for so many years now. I couldn't even tell you what collection she came from anymore. Just that she's here. And now I've moved her and she won't stand up, so I'm going to lay her over there. I just saw the prototype of Mafex's Colossus, and my God, he's awesome looking. I hope they make him tall. Yes. Yeah, I saw that Jada is doing a Strider figure. That's pretty cool. Do I want that? I have Marvel vs. Capcom shelf. I might want that. Woodman! This guy is carved from mighty oak. People, listen to the megas, okay? I'm telling you. They're fantastic. You just listen to them. You just go on your computer. You can go on YouTube. You can type in the megas, and you can listen to everything they've ever done, and it's fantastic. And you will have a whole new appreciation for Mega Man stuff, okay? Because they're fantastic, and we love them. Just do it. Just do it. After we hang out, do it. Look, this guy still follows the same thing that I'm worried about. This was the first guy I used to go beat, Mega Man 2. I used to go fight him. I used to go fight him first. Nowadays, of course, I go kill Metal Man. But I remember back when I was a kid, the first guy I used to go beat was Woodman. Because I used to have the timing down on jumping the leaves, so I could jump the leaves and just be like, top, 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 and then jump the leaves, top, 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 top. So he wasn't very hard for me to, beat. Now, I don't bother. I do the same thing everybody else does. I go get the metal blades and I wreck the game. It's just the way to play, okay? Like, it's just, say what you will, metal blades is broken. But this guy concerns me. And we already talked about this, but we'll bring it back up. The thing I'm excited for with Jada is that it feels like they finish what they start. They said they were going to complete Street Fighter 2. And we are very, very, very close. Like, the last characters are on pre-order. We've almost got Street Fighter 2 completely accounted for. That's beautiful. Then they said they are going to complete Scooby. We're going to get the gang. Okay. Looking at Street Fighter, I have the belief to say that they're going to do it. They start with Mega Man 1. And they start pumping out Mega Man 1 figures. And only Mega Man 1 figures. And it's working. Here's Mega Man 1, here's Cutman, here's Iceman, here's Fireman, here's 3 different Mega Man. Like, it's working. We're moving in the correct direction. Then all of a sudden they jump into Mega Man 2 and they give us Bubble Man and Wood Man out of nowhere. But we don't have Guts Man or Bomb Man. We don't have a Wily yet. We don't have a Dr. Light. We don't have the weird, like, where's Dr. Wily in his UFO or something like that? You get what I'm saying? Like, I am a little concerned about the fact that we jumped directly into Mega Man 2 without finishing Mega Man 1. Because if we continue this now, which of course I think we are, we have Snake Man and Gemini Man coming. That puts us into Mega Man 3. Which means now we are spreading Mega Man across the entirety of all Mega Man. And we could get anything from any game of any line at any time. Any color Mega Man, any variant Mega Man, any Rush, any Coil, any Robot Master, any Scientist. We could get Beat, we could get the Cat. Sure, there's something cool about that, but there's also something worrying about that. Because Mega Man is not a small property. And if we drag this out, and it goes... We could release 40 characters and not finish even one single game. It could happen. It's very realistic. It's very possible that out of 40 figures, we could not finish a single game, and then the line could be like, hey, Mega Man's not really selling anymore, guys, or we've lost the license because this other thing is going to do it. And then that's the end of it. We didn't finish anything. And then we're right back here with Mortal Kombat. Storm Collectibles, Mortal Kombat. I'm going to call this off the top of my head, and I could be wrong, but I seem to remember that they didn't finish a single game. There's not, consistently, like, we have a lot of characters. We have characters to complete the roster of a game, but not the look to complete even one single game. They didn't complete part 1, part 2, part 3, nothing. It's just constant, like, here's another guy and another guy and another guy and another guy. Here's this guy that you needed for part 1, but he looks like he came from part 3. Like, that kind of situation is playing out. And we could see that with Mega Man if we're now just doing Robot Masters for the sake of. It is cool to put Mega Man on the shelf. I am not complaining. But I am now concerned. Let's open them up. All right, so we have Woodman here just hanging out. That's just like, you know, just kind of, I'm kind of serious, but like, do I even have to be here? Like, what are we even doing? What are we even doing? Like, look at this guy. He just doesn't care, man. He has decent level articulation, the same that we're seeing from the rest of the line in Jada. He has little rocket boots. They put all the stuff down there. I like the back here with this little thing and the vent and everything. That's kind of cool. He has a lot of upper torso movement because he's kind of on a ball joint, and because he's round the way he is, that's kind of decent. Nothing crazy. But then again, this line hasn't exactly been like, you know, modern marvels of articulation, because it doesn't really need to be because of what it is. It's Mega Man, and they always kind of looked a certain way anyway. I don't have a problem with the articulation that we're getting from Jada in this line. I will say that this head, we're going to pop this off because I actually prefer this this screaming like action head that we got here. I just think that's better. I think that's cool. Like right there, I didn't even mean to do that, but I already got kind of like an action pose happening just because I switched the head. So that head adds a lot of dynamic range to him, just changing his facial expression. And by the way, I love the fact that Jada is doing this with all of their figures. That we're getting like a really just kind of like standard head and a really expressive head. I really, really like that. I really do. I think it adds kind of like how we have Bubble Man here, and he's just kind of like, are we serious right now? What are you so mad about? Like, look at this. I love that I could do like goofy, stupid pictures. Like where I have one where like Mega Man is about to shoot Cutman, and he's sitting there like, come on, man, what are we even doing here? Like, I love the fact that they have so much expression. That is beautiful. It's one of my favorite things that's happening from this line right now. We have leaves. So we have the razor leaves, which are fine, but also don't blow my mind in any way whatsoever. You know what we wanted. Okay, so that like this is not complaining. It's more like the first thing. Are we going to see another version of these? Because here we go. We got the stand. We got the leaves. He can shoot the leaves. And by the way, let's do this hand. This will be the hand that shoots leaves. So there. We'll do that. He'll be mad. He'll shoot leaves. There. He's cool. He's a cool guy. With this, he's also, stop! I just love the expressions they give these guys. It's so fantastic, man. It literally is one of the best parts. Can you be sassy? Can you put your hand on your hip? Yep, he can. Look at that. He's going to put his hand on his hip. There. Now he's sassy. Yes! Dude, I love the expressions on these guys. They're so goofy and so fun. Oh, look, we'll even cock his head up a little bit, so he's really got that attitude now. This guy's fantastic. I love this. I love this. The only thing I can say against it right now is that I wish we could have got the actual power, like putting his hands out and a thing that went all around him. I realize he would have been big, and that would have been tough with this because they would have had to somehow expand this effect. And it would have almost been like one of those portals that we see with like the Doctor Strange portal everybody's using, like in photography and whatnot. We see that portal all over the place. It would have been that with a bunch of leaves. But like his thing is leaf shield. Like I realized that he doesn't even shoot leaves. His thing is leaf shield. The leaf shield is supposed to go around him and then shoot out. So this is supposed to be that same leaf shield that was around him that he just threw out, and maybe the leaves came in and kind of condensed to be like these razors that are coming across, which I guess that's fine. It's inventive. It's neat. This works. But like he has two things that he does. The leaves fall from the ceiling, which means maybe he could have come with one or two leaves. and stands, so they could have been like falling down or something like that. Or he has the leaf shield where it goes completely around his body and he's invulnerable. It protects him. And then when Mega Man defeats him, he gets that leaf shield. Is it possible that because Mega Man is smaller, we might get like a green Mega Man later on and he'll come with the shield and this guy came with the shooting the leaves? Which he doesn't really do. I mean, I'm willing to let it go because it's fun and it's cool, and I really do like that Woodman. I think he's fantastic. But I think it is important because Jada is literally, they're one of the guys at the top of the game right now. So I think it is still sometimes important to go, hey, look, even the guys at the top don't do everything you want them to do. We're not mad at them. I'm not disappointed necessarily. I'm not sitting here like, well, Woodman was a waste of my time. But like, I still think it's important to go, hey, even the company that's basically the best right now isn't giving you everything you want. Like, calm down. Sometimes we're complaining about things, you know, a little too much. Let me set this back up again. Because I think we still got time. So let's do... We'll do that. Oh, oops. Okay, so now we've done a full round. So let's do... Now we'll start jumping around. We'll do that. We'll do this. We'll do... Oh, you know what? Let's do that. This will be interesting. We haven't tried this way yet. So let's do... Let me make sure I'm right about that before I do this. You don't matter. Get out of my way. Yes, I do have it. Let's do that. Or we could do this. We could do that. Or... What are you? Oh, okay. There. Let's try that. See how that goes over. Now, let me see where I was. Vampirella had a movie. Yes, she did. If you have ever seen it, they did get the actress to wear the costume. That is impressive. I am surprised, because that costume is not form-functioning for anybody that has to do a fight scene. But that's as far as the movie goes with being... Just look up some pictures. Save yourself. If you've never seen it, just look up some pictures and then ignore the rest. Because, oh man, that movie's pretty bad. Personally, oh my gosh. That's a more collectibles Witchblade. All right, okay. Wow. Nothing beats your Mega Man boss victory story. Mega Man boss victory story. I wonder which one that was. Bill, did you get to see that Nacelle Toys? Oh my god, I did. That sucker is 3 feet. It's not even done. They said things like the doors would actually open and they were still like repainting and things like that. And I probably would have bought it in its current condition. So to think, because I know people nitpick all the time. I'm not nearly the kind of nitpicky guy so here's the thing. Because this does bring up a couple of things. This thing is going to be expensive. It's going to be 1/10 scale. It's going to be for the current figures that are coming out. It's going to be a major investment over time if I choose to do this. And I do kind of want to, but oh my gosh. Especially when I have almost all of the Playmates I could want. And I definitely have all the original series Playmates. So like, there is another option. There are people that make 3D printed Playmate scale original series bridge. And they look fantastic. They're beautifully painted. Some of them light up. Some of them have sounds. And they cost around $400 to $500. Does that make more sense for me? That's a real question I have to ask. I have invested a lot into Playmates, and am still buying Playmates to this day. And this like clip together bridge display that Nacelle is coming out with, that is how it works with the printed stuff. And if somebody could do it at a near professional level, and if Nacelle is going to sell these things at like $60, I'm just making a random price here. Because if you figure you get the figure and you get part of the bridge and things like that, and if I'm thinking $60 per thing to get every character and then the bridge and then set it all up, that's a big investment. But it would be the same kind of investment just to pay the like $460 or whatever and get a perfect scale Playmates bridge. Because here's the thing also, I don't have a Playmate, a Nacelle figure yet in my hand. If I get a Nacelle figure and I figure out they come with problems like they can't sit down, that would be devastating to have a perfect bridge and then find out that just like so many other figure lines, which I'm almost positive I already saw. I saw Uhura, and it looks like she can't sit down. It looks like her dress is in the way. It looks like her skirt is in the way. If she can't sit down, she has to stand up in every single shot that I do, which doesn't look right, because she was famous for being on the bridge, sitting down, turning kind of backwards or whatever, and she's got her earpiece or whatever. She's like, I'm receiving message. If I can't do that shot, and I'm going to pay this kind of money, then there's no difference in just keeping what I have, which is the Playmates figures, which the girls can't sit down. I feel like that's a problem. Can Spock sit down? Can he sit at the science station? Or is it awkward? Can they not sit in those little weird chairs? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And since I don't have one of these figures, and I don't know if they can actually sit down, which is something that they need to be able to do at the scale and what you're asking. You see why I'm worried? You're not talking about a small investment. This is a very, very large investment. It is a dream fulfillment to have a bridge. But it's also a dream fulfillment to have it the way that I want it. And with the bridge, with the figures that can sit, that can stand, that can pose, that can move. And I already see that it looks like One of the main bridge crew can't sit down. I am concerned and excited, and I think that's fair. One could say I need to buy one of these figures just to see. Who would I buy? Maybe an original series figure, just because that's what I'm more interested in? I don't know. You can tell, if you can't tell, I am genuinely concerned about this, because this is a big investment. It's not a small investment, and I've already put major investment towards Playmates over the years. And I'm just as keen to just finish the Playmates with an absolute standout centerpiece and buy one of the printed bridges. I don't know. I have things to think about. I really, really do. According to Dan and Dwight, they have 2 more Maximums in development, but won't be releasing them this year. Maybe an announcement, Dwight said. These are the best. I wonder what they would be. In his opinion. They have more Marvel vs. Capcom stuff in development and will be announcing them in the coming year. That's fine. I don't know why you wouldn't keep that going. Like, holy crap, they knocked it out of the park with all this stuff. So Archangel went back up in stock on Big Bad Toy Store. Full stock 2 days ago. Yesterday, there were only 13 left. Bought one. Later that same night, he sold out completely. Thank goodness I pulled the trigger. I got mine. If you're talking about the 97 one, I got him. I'm very happy with him. We opened him in the last live, I believe. The Mega Man story was about you not being able to beat a boss, and then your dog... Oh! The toe kick! The Game Boy. Yes, the Game Boy. Yes, I know that. Yes. That is, oh my gosh, dude. She still talks about that. Like, she's so proud of it. She's like, yeah, I helped my dad beat Mega Man. Well, I've beat like 4 Mega Mans, and all the hard ones too. She's not exactly wrong. She sat down with me and she beat the Game Boy ones, and I had gotten irritated, and she's the one that did end up beating Cutman because she wouldn't let it go. She's like, no, I'm not going to die this way. I'm not going to get toe kicked to death. Yes, that is fantastic. Yes, that is an absolute memory. And she will still bring it up from time to time. She'll still be like, yeah, I beat Cutman. I beat him. Me. Oh my gosh. So we have Tim won. Okay. Tim is going to cause a problem. Ready? It's going to be 2 problems. One for me and one for other people. Okay? Because I'm going to say something here. And when I say it, people are going to disagree with me. And they're wrong. Okay? So let's just do this. Tim Drake, the best Robin. I said it. You heard what I said. I said words, and you heard them, because they came from my face hole into your ear holes, okay? The best Robin. I said it. Why do I believe that? Now, we've had this conversation before, and we're going to have it again, because I have to do this every single time, and I don't care. I'm going to say it. Look. Dick Grayson is not the best Robin. He's Nightwing. 100%, I believe that. He's Nightwing. And I don't want to see him regress back to Robin. That's part of my point here. Jason Todd is not the best Robin. He never was, to be fair. But he's not because he is the Red Hood. An iconic status. That's where he belongs. Damian I honestly see leaving the Robin mantle. I don't think he holds on to it for his lifetime. I don't see it in his person. There's something about him that has always made me believe that he will move forward into something else. He will redesign his own image as time goes on. He's Robin now. And if we're arguing best in terms of fighting capability, sure, he is the best Robin. But he's not. I think there's more to Robin than being the best fighter. That's not my argument. The best Robin is the person that understands why Robin exists. Why is he important? What is his purpose? And why can we not be without him? That is Tim Drake. Tim Drake has high-level martial arts proficiency. Just like anybody. He's fine. He's fine. He's arguably been trained by some of the greatest martial artists on the planet. And if you were to put him in a room with 20 guys, he'll dismantle those 20 guys. That is a world-renowned martial artist. So just because one guy in the same area is better than him doesn't make him a worse Robin. Doesn't make him a worse fighter. You're talking about world-renowned superheroes fighting superheroes. This guy is a world-renowned martial artist. He'll pick apart 20 guys in a single room while they have guns and he has a stick. That is one of the greatest fighters to have ever lived. Bruce Lee would have to bow his head and say, "Oh, holy crap." He beat 20 guys and they had guns in a well-lit room. Look, man, you're the best. I don't want none of that. Okay? Like, that's the kind of level you're putting these guys on. He is also the best detective in the Bat family. It has been proven multiple times, even to the point where some supervillains have made sure to remove him because he would have figured something out that they didn't want him to figure out. The detective side is important because first and foremost, when this entire thing started, Batman and Robin were great detectives. They weren't great beat everybody up guys. They were solving crimes. That's part of what they do. Batman is the world's greatest detective. And even Bruce has said out loud that Tim is actually a better detective than Bruce is. That is wild. When Tim moved forward in life, you know something that he decided to do? Stay Robin. He went from Robin to basically carrying the Robin design without the name, to becoming Red Robin, to going back to Robin. He's Robin. He never leaves the mantle because he is the one that understands. He's the one that showed up when Batman was at his worst and said, "Hey, we gotta stop this. You have to have Robin. Like, we gotta ground you again. Like, you're getting dangerous out there." And he's the one that was able to put together, through his own detective mind, who Batman and Robin were. That is just a kid going, "That's interesting. If I see this and this and this and this, and I connect the lines, oh my God, I know who Batman and Robin are." There are villains that still can't figure it out. There are cops that still can't figure it out. He did it. He did it. He also respects the mantle of Robin enough that when he realized that Dick Grayson would not come back, he volunteered because he knew how important it was. He took the mantle and responsibility onto himself. It wasn't given to him, and it wasn't stolen, or it wasn't passed down. He accepted a responsibility that most people would have never done. Then on top of all of that, when Batman was replaced, because we've got them Nightfall movies coming, and we've got the Nightfall books. We can all read them. When Batman was replaced, who was the Robin that stood in place and kept telling Paul, you are not doing this right? He kept trying to walk Paul back from the edge. Nobody else was doing that. They were just kind of letting him run free. He was the one that kept saying, I don't think this is right. I think you're overstepping your boundaries. I think you're misunderstanding what this whole thing is. You're not an enforcer. Batman doesn't work that way, yada, yada. And I should know. I know it better than you do. And then he basically, guess what? Guess what he had to do? He removed that Robin because Robin was in his way. That's what happened. If you remember reading the books, he stood up to Paul multiple times and said, hey, what you're doing is wrong. This is not right. We don't operate this way. And finally, he had to be like, I was the one that's chosen. I don't need you anymore, blah, blah, blah. He removed that Robin. Because he is the best Robin. That's not like my favorite Robin. He is my favorite Robin. But that's not an argument that I'm making that he's my favorite Robin. I'm making the argument, like I have in multiple videos now. Because I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to post this video as a chapter, and people are immediately going to come in and they're going to go, Dick Grayson is the best Robin. He's not. He's not, and he never was. This guy right here, best Robin. Always has been. The mantle is his. And I would argue, and yes, this is a very real argument, I don't believe Damian becomes Batman either. Just so we're putting that out there. I believe the best candidate in the history of the Batman mythos to take up the cowl and become the Batman is this guy right here. Why? What is Batman's moniker? The world's greatest detective. It's Tim Drake. And it has been for years. So who takes up the cowl? Who makes the modifications? Who respects the lineage? Who pushes the idea forward without altering what the Batman is? And knows him and has studied him and worked with him and trained more than any other Robin, because he wasn't allowed on the field for a long time. He was just in training all the time. Looking, watching, learning, adapting, developing. It's Robin. And a fully trained, best trained, longest term Robin has the best possibility of taking on the cowl and being Batman than anybody else. Anybody else. And we have seen that when Dick Grayson becomes Batman, it doesn't actually work. Like, they pushed it, they tried, and he has a good storyline. I'm not saying he's a bad Batman, but it doesn't work. There's something wrong, and we feel it, we know it. And not just us, all of Gotham knew it. The underworld knew something was wrong, something was different, something was missing. They couldn't quite put their finger on it, but they knew that was not Batman. It wasn't as sharp. It was more showy. There's things that were different, things that weren't right. So, I'm putting it out here, just like I have time and time again. It's the best I can explain it. I am telling you, the best Robin ever in all of Robins, the best person to carry the mantle was Tim Drake and still is. This is Robin. And now I want to go on to my second problem. I'm in trouble now. I don't necessarily want this Teen Titans team. But now that I see that they're going to be releasing, it's not this one. They're releasing a Raven, and I think I'm gonna like. Did I want a Teen Titans team and then never put it together, and now I'm in a place where I can't? I think so. I don't know what it would be like to try to get a hold of that Beast Boy. I don't know what kind of nightmare it would be to put together some of the others, but like, I could get a Wonder Girl. She's on her way. It wouldn't be, I could get a Wonder Girl. I could get a Diana Troy, a Donna Troy. I think Donna Troy is still available. Like, and not too ridiculous. I think I could get one. If I got a Donna Troy, I could easily get a I could easily get a cyborg. Raven is coming. I could get one of those if I just hop on it at the right time. I've got multiple Robins, like one that would work for a Teen Titans team. Beast Boy would be a problem. I don't know if I am at a point where like I've passed on enough things that like now I could be in trouble trying to complete something. If I want a Teen Titans on the shelf, even if it's like my own design of the team, like just the members that I feel are absolute Teen Titans, can I even do it now without really having to pay money? I could be screwed. But oh well. It's just another thing that comes to mind with this figure. Um let's open this. I hate this. Just so we know. I hate this. This is the worst packaging in the whole freaking line. In toys, I hate this packaging more than any other packaging there is. The clamshell design is trash. I hate it. If you're an inbox collector, it's fantastic. You can hang that on your wall. There you go. He's perfect. He's right there. You can see him. It's wonderful, right? That's great. Anybody that wants to open these stupid things, this is terrible. It's awful. I hate it. We all hate it. Okay? We all collectively, as a people, as a society, not even as toy collectors, we hate this packaging. Like when scissors come in these clamshells and you need scissors to... Why? I hate this packaging. Let's open it. Okay, so congratulations, McFarlane. Not only did you use a clamshell, but then once we get past the clamshell, you have all those stupid little twisty tie things that we got to cut off. So fantastic. You currently have the worst packaging of every single figure that we open on this show. Worst packaging award to you. You get the plastic trophy. Yay! So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Now, we get a card. Amazing. We get this. Sure. But I'm going to say it again, just like I always do. Flight stand. And why would I justify it for a Robin? Because Robins and characters like that are constantly known for jumping, for having the cape out, for being airborne and taking those kinds of poses. So I would argue that a flight stand makes sense for this particular character as well. You have the flight stands. We know you can use them. We've seen you use them, and we've watched you use them on Superman figures without raising the prices. So, flight stands. Okay? Not that you're going to fix it now, because, like, your line is done, but, flight stand. Okay? Just, drive that home, okay? All right. Fantastic. Otherwise, what are we looking at here? Well, we have Robin. This is a McFarlane figure. We're not seeing anything that stands out that's like crazy. I'm not seeing anything that is a bad thing. His legs are not perfect. I will say that. He's got that thing again where like one of his legs are a little like, you see what I mean? Like it's kind of like the knee isn't quite right. You get that with these McFarlane figures. Sometimes you can heat them up and fix it. Sometimes you cannot. Sometimes it's just like you can't fix it and you can't get it right. And that just is the way that it's going to be. But like his knee is pointed in and it is an actual issue. I don't know why that happens with some McFarlane figures and then it doesn't on other ones. I really don't, but it does happen. Something that I love, the wires go all the way up. Sometimes that doesn't happen with McFarlane figures. Sometimes the wires do not go all the way up. They go to about right here, and it's noticeable because the cape like sags and it doesn't grip. I love the dual layer on the cape. That is standout. I think that is miraculous. I think it's very, very good. Not only are we getting wired capes, we're getting dual material capes, which is so fantastic because we have the yellow on the inside and the black on the outside. My favorite Robin cape design, by the way, is the yellow inside, black outside. So that's a plus for this figure in general. These are my favorite belts. I like when they have all the actual pouches. That makes sense, but they still have that little thing here in the middle, which is redundant and stupid and doesn't actually serve any purpose but to be like a little circle thing, but I like it and I'm old enough to be set in my ways, okay? So it's just something that I like. The face sculpt is good. It is legit. See that? That is a solid Robin. I think that works very well. That's a really good Tim Drake. I buy that. Like, I like that the hair kind of swoops to one angle. I like that he seems young and vibrant, yet he almost seems a little smug and tough. I like that. I think that it works very well. The suit, it's all red. It's just kind of like a blank body. We didn't get anything that like stands out necessarily or blows our minds. In fact, I can't prove this. This might be the Nightfall Batman body. Like, I'm seeing areas in the clothing and like the way the legs are, these boots, these gloves specifically. I can't say this for sure, but I think this might be the Nightfall Batman body. There's nothing that I have, and I don't have him over here, so I'm not going to compare him or anything, but I think there's a very real chance that that's what we're looking at here. Is they took the Nightfall body, they painted it red, they put the R, they switched out the head, and they gave us a cape, and they swapped the belt. If that's true, that's fine because that's one of the best bodies that McFarlane has done. So it doesn't bother me at all and it works for me and I'm 100% on board for it. One minor thing. It's very minor. It's so minor it doesn't really matter. Where's my stick? Like, I got a card. I got a hockey puck. I got a figure. It's a decent figure. It's working. I have no real complaints. I think that I can fix the legs. I really do. I believe that. In fact, even with the legs as they are right now, he's standing up perfectly. Like, you can't see that, but I've already got him standing up, and he doesn't look that bad. The knee does bother me a little bit. I think I'm going to try to iron that out. I'm going to heat him up and twist it and see if I can't get it to hold. But overall, I really think that he works. I think that he's everything that I need him to be. And his cape is big enough that it goes out, but doesn't go way too far out because I think that Robin shouldn't have like the same cape as Batman. I think that this works. I think that I'm sold on it. It's enough cape that I can do action poses. If I want him to run, it'll blow behind him. If I want him to jump, I can put it up. If I want him to like take a stance like this where it's kind of blowing somewhat in front of him, I can do that. There's just enough cape here to play with that I'm not going to have any real problems. And like I said, I really like the yellow on the inside. This is a good figure. For what you're going to pay, for what you're looking for what it is, that's a solid figure. Where's my stick? Look, man, you got to say something, right? And I do feel like one of Tim Drake's defining features is that he has the stick. He has the bow staff. That's like a thing. Personally, I feel like he looks incomplete without it. Could I steal the bow staff from the other Tim Drake that I currently already have on the shelf? I could. Would it make a difference? I don't know. But just to put it out there, they gave him a grip hand and a punch hand. If you were going to give him two punching hands and this was just going to be the way the figure was, that's fine. But if you gave him the grip hand, did you intend for there to be a bow staff? But then, for some reason, did not repurpose it from the other figure that had the bow staff? Because I'm just curious. You gave him the ability to hold the staff. You didn't give me the staff. Todd, put your shoes on, man. You're embarrassing yourself. Okay. You know what? I still have time. Let's set something else up. And there was a lot of chat, so we'll go back to the chat. Okay, so this time we're going to run that. You know what? Why not? We just talked about it. That we're going to put up. You know what? Why not? And no, those will stay. Already got one of those. Let's check this. What's that? That's a no. Sure, why not? All right. Let's figure out where I was. That one we did. That one we did. I think we're here. Who's my favorite Green Lantern again? If I have to pick one single Green Lantern, it's Kyle Rayner. It's Kyle Rayner. That's who it is. I think that he gets a decent amount of coverage over the years, and some of the stories that I really liked that he stood out in, just kind of caught my attention over the years. I started to really like Kyle Rayner. So Hal Jordan always bugged me a little bit because he's just like the hero guy. And that kind of started to bleed on me a little bit. He's the best of the best. He doesn't fail. He pulls off things that seem miraculous. He's the hero guy. He's the cliche come to save the day hero guy. Regardless of any character flaws they've tried to add over the years, he's always the guy that everybody's like, ooh, it's Hal Jordan. He's the best Green Lantern. And that kind of started to make me not like him. It seemed too perfect. He's the best of the best. The military attitude of John always kind of put me off a little bit, where I like him and then I don't like him. And it depends on who he's interacting with and I guess who's writing him, like how far they want to go with that. So that kind of played with me on that one. Then I like Guy Gardner a lot because he's an asshat. That's actually why I like him. I don't want them to change that. He should always be a prick, okay? He's the Green Lantern that gets things done, but you might not want to hang out with him. He's like, he's that guy. And I actually love that about him. I think that it really works with him, and I think that it defines the kinds of friends and people that stick around him. And kind of like you even know that the other Green Lanterns are like, I kind of hate Guy. But if we want this done, we're going to need Guy. Like, I kind of love that they have that mentality themselves. I think that it works. Kyle built on me over time. I liked that he was not quite sure of himself. I liked that he grew into his own. I liked that he had legitimate problems. I liked that he was an artist and he would get really crazy with the ring. We saw him doing things that like simply were not done. Like in JLA, when he literally fought, there was an invasion where a bunch of angels came down and he created from the ring thousands of warriors and just flew them out into the heavens to fight against the vortex that was open that angels were falling out of. That's wild. That's a Kyle thing. And then I'd seen that after Kyle, all the Lanterns started like doing things like this. But that's a Kyle thing. Kyle is creative. And I like the idea that the ring works a little bit differently for every single different person. And we've discussed that on here before. So like that's kind of a thing too that I think is important. And then, so going on from that, he really grew on me. He just kind of became my favorite. I loved that he was given the White Lantern power. I loved that for a while he was a Blue Lantern. I loved that for a while he was the only Green Lantern. I loved that when the Lanterns came back together, he kind of took a mild leadership role and then kind of fell to the background. I loved that for a while he hosted Ion. I liked him a lot. He just had a lot of things that hit at the time that I was reading that made me really like him. Simon, I like the idea that Simon got a ring at the time that he got it, and I like that the storyline was allowed to kind of play with that concept, and I like that we were in troubled times when those storylines took place, and I like some of the stuff that was happening family-wise and things like that with Baz. I like Simon Baz. I really do. I'm not a big fan of his costume. He kind of looks like Kick-Ass, and it makes me laugh at him sometimes. But other than that, there's not a lot that draws me to him. I don't really know his life experience, so like I don't share that with him, which means I don't relate to him. I just find it interesting. And I also find things in his personality, a level of cockiness that kind of bugs me sometimes when he's literally the new guy. And then also some of the things that they give him while he is the new guy. And I know you got to push the new guy to make him seem exciting and seem cool and put him on the correct level. An idea that a guy got a Green Lantern ring yesterday and was able to outpace the Justice League today. That's a little much for me. You're telling me the Justice League never trained hand in hand alongside Hal Jordan, who's supposed to be the very best with the ring, and then somehow Simon Baz got away from them because he made a car? You see my problem there? I don't like when people are handed things like that. It does bother me a little bit. And so his introduction kind of put me at a spot where I was having trouble with him to begin with. And he has grown on me as time has gone, and there's things I honestly like about him. Lastly, and she might be creeping up here, Jessica Cruz and Kyle are becoming somewhat interchangeable. I love that Jessica was paralyzed by fear, because that's what they are. They overcome great fear. I love that there was a tragedy in her life, and like a real person, it broke her. It was hard. Her friends were murdered. That's difficult. You don't just like become okay the next day about it. I really, really appreciate that. I like that there are times and I like how she interacts with the ring differently than any other person that has ever interacted with the ring. It talks to her. So she immediately assigns it a personality, kind of like some people do with their phone, kind of like some people do with an AI boyfriend or AI girlfriend or AI buddy or whatever, right? That she talks to it. It talks back, and she talked enough that it actually developed a personality with her, and it speaks to her unlike any other lantern. And she relies on it, because of course she would. If today a Green Lantern ring broke through this window and went onto my finger and was like, Bill, you have been chosen by the Green Lantern Corps, good luck to you, buddy. Like, I don't know anything about this ring. I don't know how it works. I don't know how to make it do things. That's my favorite thing about Jessica. Her story wasn't like Simon, where he just kind of like got it and for some reason he was just doing crazy crap. She messes up simple crap and has to constantly ask the ring, how did I do that? How does this work? Why this? How can I get out of this? I'm scared. Like, she didn't even know, like, she didn't even remember to charge it sometimes. It would talk to her. It would tell her things. Like, she would communicate alongside. She would screw up simple events. Then later on, she would have situations where she needed to do superhero things, and she would doubt the idea that she could. But even during that, while she was doubting the idea that she could, while she was scared to move forward, you know what she did? She did a Green Lantern thing. She chose, because she was the person that had to do it, to move forward and at least attempt a thing. She was afraid when she encountered Red Lanterns. Who wouldn't be? That's perfect. I love human characters. So she is climbing that rank fast. So that's where I stand with all lanterns. She is right there. But I just have a lot more time with Kyle. And that's how I feel about every other lantern. And now I have more than answered this question. I saw that InArt are making a Dark Knight Returns line, but their mutant leader isn't looking better than the Chaos Toys version. I have not seen them yet, so I don't know. Dick Grayson graduated to Nightwing is a good idea. Yes, I think so. I don't think he should walk backwards. Damian is already being set to become the Bat as is his destiny, which I've never agreed with, but I do know they're pushing it. I was thinking, what if he called himself the Demon, like something to do with Al Ghul? Now, see, that would work for me. If he still took on bat-like properties, but then made the mantle his own thing and became the Demon, not the Batman, but that would work for me, because it would give lineage to his grandpa, where he came from, who his dad is, and what he's made himself. That would work for me. Yes. Also, can't wait for the animated Nightfall. It does look good, doesn't it? Your thoughts on Tim Drake in the animated series? I liked him a lot, and go through Return of the Joker was crazy. Animated series. Oh, are you talking about where he, so you're talking about like the Return of the Joker where he was turned into a Joker and then like because, and then they left that chip or whatever, and then he is the Joker in the future or whatever, and things like that. I liked that movie for what it was as a one-off, but like definitely didn't like the idea of where like Tim ended up in all of it. I mean, it makes sense, and I knew they had to do something with it, but like, man, what a tragedy for him, right? I love the unedited Batman Beyond Return of the Joker S-tier storytelling. It is good. It's a very, very good standalone movie. I enjoyed it very, very much. And to the animated series, like, lineage, timeline, and whatnot, it works for what they were setting up. I do. There are things I like about it. Joker was like, that's not Batman. That's Nightwing. Nightwing, I am too Joker. Right. That's what I mean. Like, people knew. There's something missing there. There's something different, and they knew it. Batman the Animated Series Tim Drake is more Jason Todd than Tim. I could agree with that. Just like Batman the Animated Series Clayface is more Basil Carl than Matt Hagen. And I could agree with that too. They were really playing with amalgamations. They wanted like the best of both worlds, and they knew there were characters they couldn't get away with, and there are things they wanted to do, but they'd never be allowed to do, and storylines they wanted to do that they couldn't tell. So they just kind of squashed characters together. And it worked for the animated series as a standalone property. It's not the comics, it's the animated series. And we let a lot of that go. I think it works. I agree on your assessment of Tim as the best. Dick is still probably my favorite, but that is because I have read an unhealthy amount of Golden Age stories. That you have. You can't have a stick because it's better than bacon. You can't have bacon anymore. Actually, he's kind of right. I'm really not supposed to be messing around with all this bacon. I found the same figure with bow staff and batarang. Did you really? How come I didn't get a bow staff and batarang? I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty excited about the vibe, the way Clayface feels and looks. It definitely feels like it would not take place in the DC universe, yet that's the appeal. It feels different. And I think, to be fair, comic books are much more vast than people give it credit for. You could do comic books. You get like comedy comic books. You could do horror comic books. You could do action comic books. You could do slice of life comic books. And all of it fits because comic books is just a medium for storytelling. So I think that it works very well. And I think there's nothing we can't do, but people need to be ready for that idea. Like, and so many people, like, you'll surprise them when you tell them something like, oh, well, that was a comic book, and they act like you just, like, shattered their worldview. They're like, no, I saw that as a movie, but yeah, that's a comic book. It came from a comic book. Like, it just blows their mind. So I think it's not out of line to do like a body horror thing with Clayface and play it up. I think it very much can work. There's no reason it can't. People just need to be ready for what this could open the door for. Damien would get a C and D from Etrigan if he called himself a demon. Dude, yes! I kind of want that now. Hasbro just revealed the Marvel Legends Avengers Doomsday figures. I'm hearing that. I've actually heard that a couple times so far in the live. I'm gonna have to go look at a lot of stuff. How much? Like, that's MCU figures. Do I want any of that, even if I was to look at it? I don't know. That might be a pass all the way through, but it might be fun to see them regardless because of what it is. Gwen Stacy. I went to a toy store. Well, a third-hand store. It like sells video games, movies, toys. I'm walking through. I see her. I need it. I bought it. Of the girlfriends that Peter has had, is Gwen Stacy my favorite? No. Let me tell you something. Personality-wise, most everything that we know about Gwen Stacy, everything that we like about Gwen Stacy, we have imposed on the original character. It wasn't there. It wasn't there. Gwen Stacy has been developed as an afterthought. She died. And it kind of ushered out an age of comics and made things unsafe for the first time in a long time. And I think that's important. But then, with her death, people wanted it to be an even bigger event. So they started superimposing characteristics that were introduced later. Expansions on the idea of who she was. Retellings. Retcons. Additions. And they started superimposing that new Gwen Stacy on the old Gwen Stacy. I honestly believe that happened because when I went back to read a lot of Spider-Man, I noticed that Gwen Stacy is Peter Parker's girlfriend. And she worries about him sometimes. And she's jealous sometimes. What else we got? What? Remember the time when she was worried because like he didn't show up for a thing or whatever? Remember the time that he snapped off and she like got mad, but then she was all like sad faced because she wasn't like seeing Peter or whatever? And it's not a lot of personality there. Remember the time that Mary Jane came in with a whole bunch of personality and stole the show and she got jealous? And then she tried to be sexy too. Like she tried to like walk in and do the party girl thing, but it like wasn't her. And it never quite worked. They would try to like add or superimpose this new idea as to Gwen's character, and then they like lose it and they'd be like, this isn't working. Like it just, these lines feel like forced, and they kind of revert her back to who she was. The reality of the situation is that Gwen was not a great character originally. She became a great character because she died. And then we had to create why that was important. Because if anybody went back to read those books and then she died, most people not attached to years of development would probably read up to that point. She would die and they'd be like, it's neat to see it. Like, because I know the history of it, but it's kind of crazy to see it. And that's it. It's not going to change their life. Okay? It's not. But nowadays, with Spider-Gwen, with Gwen coming back, with Gwen showing up in television series, with Gwen being in the movies, we have created all this personality and development and interest in a character who didn't really have it. And now we're kind of taking all of that and we're like moving it over here and be like, no, I loved Gwen Stacy. Did you? Did you? Maybe you did. Maybe a very simple little proper girl is exactly what you like. But like there was nothing exciting about her. That was her character. She was white bread. One could argue that Betty was more interesting than Gwen back in the early comics. And even that is kind of pushing it. Like, it's just the way that the character was. But why do I bring all that up? Because the fact that I can even talk about that, I think is why I want this character on the shelf. And why I think Marvel is different than DC. Marvel tells soap operas. The side characters matter. And I think that Marvel Legends is missing a huge portion of their roster. I think Marvel Legends needs a line for people That's it. People. J. Jonah Jameson, that's a character. We know it. And it's important to Spider-Man's mythos. Betty, character, important. Harry, character, important. Osborn, character, important. Before he's a villain, he's a guy. Gwen Stacy, Mary Jane, Flash. Does nobody out there want a Flash figure? You see what I'm getting at? If you take all of these characters and you play with them and you release figures, there's a lot of street clothes variant X-Men that people would want. There's a lot of side characters people would want from Marvel. Because Marvel tells soap operas. Would you like a Karen Page? I'll bet you a lot of people would like a Karen Page. Would you like a Foggy? Bet you there's a lot of people that would say yes. And not just MCU. Comic book variants. People, characters, soap opera. Marvel is structured like a soap opera. DC, I would argue, is structured like a mythology. Let's say you pick up a Marvel storyline. Have you ever had people say, oh man, I'd really like to read Spider-Man. Where do I start? And you got those people that are like, you should start at the beginning. Ouch! That's a lot of reading. And have you ever looked up where they say like, hey, these are the top 10 best stories, but the stories always come with context? Like, hey, these are the best stories in Marvel. These are the ones you should read. And then you go, oh yeah, definitely. They definitely are. And then, like, people's stories will sometimes not be the same. It'll be like, dude, I really like this or like this or like this. These ones are really good stories, yada, yada. These stand out, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, the next guy's list is either completely different or there's a couple things that are the same, but then they come with, like, caveats. Like, you notice, like, they don't say things like, oh, you should read the Maximum Carnage storyline. There's always, like, a bit of a caveat there. Like, there's, like, oh, well, these parts of it, yada, yada, but that's a pretty big storyline. It goes for a very long time. That's not the same as hopping over to DC. If you hopped over to DC and somebody was to say to you, what are the 10 Batman stories that I need to read to really be up on Batman? And people will give you things like The Long Halloween, Nightfall, things of that nature. They'll give you stories. Hush. And you can go pick up a graphic novel, know almost nothing about Batman, or only know the basic principles of Batman. You will read the Hush storyline. And when you're done, you'll go, it's pretty good. What's next? Then you could go from Hush, which is a very different kind of book, to The Long Halloween. And you will read both of these, and they will both feel like Batman, even though realistically, in a real world setting, looking at how things look, how things act, the way the characters are perceived, the designs, and the attitudes, these are not the same guy. They cannot be. Their personalities are strikingly different, and we don't care. Because DC, and I've believed this for a long time, DC tells mythology. What's important in DC? It's this guy. It's a character. It's a superhero. That's why we're there. We're there for superheroes. Doing superhero things. That's not a bad thing. It makes them interchangeable and it makes them an evergreen property. You can read a story all the way back from the Silver Age or even the Golden Age. You can read the first appearances of things like Batman and whatnot and still be kind of impressed and enthralled today. And then go on and read something that's still very, very new. And the things that matter are the heroes. They matter. That's where we are. It's what matters. We came to see Batman and Robin do a thing. Marvel is structured differently. Marvel is people. It's built. You read Daredevil, and when you come to the Shadowlands, if you don't have all the information that built up to the Shadowlands, you don't understand why it's important, because it's a soap opera, it's a drama, it's different, it's presented differently. These people are the story. Peter Parker is just as important to Spider-Man as Gwen, as Mary. All of these people come together to form the story that we are a part of, the world, the soap opera. DC, I don't believe, works that way. I really don't. And I think you could make arguments. Nowadays, they've tried real hard to push Clark to the forefront. Clark is an important character. But when I was growing up, no. Superman is why we're there. We don't care about Clark. Nowadays, they are trying very hard to push the idea that Clark is the character. He's the guy that matters. And they're trying very hard to push people like Lois and whatnot into the forefront and make characters. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm saying that fundamentally over the years that I have grown up and I have read comics, I'm pretty much dropping out at this point, but over the years that I have read these characters, that has been the difference to me. I feel like DC is a mythology, Marvel is a soap opera. And I feel that's part of the reason why movies are difficult for DC, because most DC movies are a spectacle. They're flash, flare, exciting, run, gun, explosion, laser eyes. And most of the characters don't matter. And if we slow down to focus on the characters or do character-driven narrative, most people say that that's a slow, boring Superman movie. And if characters matter and it's not just Superman holding up buildings and flying through and punching bad guys and being indestructible, well, then he's weak. But when Spider-Man struggles to lift a pillar, when he cries out in the night because he's a child and he's now facing death, and all the characters that we've built up on the side of that he thought he was protecting, or may have even put him in that situation, when all of that blends together, that's a very, very different feeling. They're two different kinds of stories. Why can Marvel be overwhelming? Because you've got to watch so much Marvel to know all these characters to get what's going on, to appreciate what it is that you're viewing in the first place. And the more things you don't know, the more untangled it is, but the less impact it has. It's a new Doomsday movie coming out, and there's a lot tied into it. And if you don't know all the soap opera that came before it, you're only seeing half the intended movie that's being laid before you. But if you go see a new DC movie and you haven't seen the last DC movie, we're just going to put this out there, say you go see Supergirl, but you haven't seen Superman, does that matter? No. Like, not really, no. Not at all. And I don't think it's just a lack of movies. I went to see Superman, but I didn't see that series that was supposed to set up part of that DC universe. And you know what I missed out on? I don't know, probably nothing. It didn't even occur to me that I was missing part of the story at all. Because they're not the same. They're not told the same. They're not built the same. They're not the same. Which is why I feel like in toys, we sell Superman, but we don't really sell Clark Kent. And I think that we are missing a major point of the Marvel Universe by not investing in creating figures of people. I really do. I think she's ridiculously important. And I think we should open her because I've said enough. There's that. Come on. There's that. There's that. That. And that. Okay. We have a folded up newspaper, the same that came with J. Jonah Jameson. Sure. We have a book. It's a Midtown High School book, which makes sense for this Gwen Stacy. And we have, I believe this is a binder. It's hard for me to tell because they didn't differentiate the color on the inside or anything like that. I do not believe it's a purse. I believe this is a binder, which is fine. And we have a Gwen, and she's very basic. She's got the coat, she's got the skirt, she's got the face. I have other Gwen Stacy heads. Come on. It will not. There. She looks fine at best, but I'm not too worried about that because, like I said, with all the Gwen Stacy figures that I have other Gwen Stacy heads that will work perfectly for this figure, and I will no problem whatsoever. I like the jacket. I like the little blue skirt thing. I think that's a classic look for her. I like that we have the long boots here. I think that, like I said, this is an older figure. We're only going to get the movement we're going to get, but I'm actually surprised we just even got that. She could actually sit down. The skirt gets out of her way. That surprises me. She has the lower body thing like we've been dealing with forever, but she's an older figure. She has the 90-degree arms. I'm not complaining about any of this because I know how old she is and I knew what I was buying. I knew what I was buying into when I decided to buy her. This is what I wanted. I think that that's not a terrible head sculpt. It's fine. But I actually believe with all the Gwen Stacy heads that I have from other Gwen Stacy figures, like the Spider-Gwens and whatnot that I've collected, I bet you I could find a really good Gwen Stacy head to go on here. And it also came with a Mary Jane head, but I also think that this is just basic. It's fine at best. It's okay, but I prefer this Mary Jane. I think that this is a better Mary Jane head sculpt. I like that it actually has freckles. I think that it has a little more attitude. I kind of like this look. And now that I have both of them, I don't feel a reason to switch this head onto this body and so on and so forth. I feel like this helps. I feel like this really shows you the difference in their attitudes, their personalities, their designs. I think this works very well. This is perfect for the shelf because I have a Gwen that really works to show off who she was and kind of the attitude and the era. And I have a more modern, very well done Mary Jane. And I do believe that both of these characters could do with re-releases and updates. And I feel like a lot of characters, just people, are missing in the freaking Marvel Legends scheme that we need. And I've already explained that at tedium. This is not a huge figure. The figure review portion here is not very big because, like, you see what she is. This will work. I like this. And I think that really you could use like this outfit as well if you were like having the X-Men or whatever and you wanted this outfit and you swap this head to say like a Jean Grey. This outfit would work for like a Jean Grey with the coat and everything like that. I think that's cool. So like this is versatile enough as just a human body. I think it's cool. I think it works. I think I'm happy with it. That's what I have for Gwen Stacy. I know I had a lot to say at the beginning and there's not really much to say figure-wise. I'm happy to have it. It did put me out $40. Is that too much? I don't think it bothers me. I will admit that it's a lot more than I would have liked to have paid. Could I have got this on a re-release or something like that? That would have been more ideal. And watch, now they are going to re-release this, and they're going to irritate the crap out of me because all of a sudden this is going to appear in the next wave of like re-released figures, and I'm going to sit there and be like, I could have paid $25 for that. Watch it happen. Watch it happen. But whatever. Otherwise, I'm not mad about it. I am actually happy to have a Gwen Stacy on the shelf, and it may be the last one I need unless they really do go through with something like what I was saying, because I also don't need citizen people to be highly articulated. So I don't know what they would have to do to sell me on like another Mary Jane. Not that they couldn't do it, because I do believe that there's a lot of potential there that we don't have. But we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. I don't see them diving into it, even though I did explain at tedium why I honestly think it's important. Please react to the Doomsday figures. Well, let me look at them real quick. There. Let's see. Toy Arc. Looks like they're talking about it. Ooh, Toy Arc has a ridiculous amount of pictures, so, okay. Let's do it. You know what? There's no reason not to do it. Let me see what I can set up here. That's not it. I apologize. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. This. Let me turn that on. Flip that. Pull me down. Okay, I'm at Toy Arc, and they've got them posted. So let me check through these real quick. Okay, I see a big run of figures here. Looks like we got a big wave of guys, and okay. All right, I already see that they got me on some of these. So let's see. We have Captain America. Now, here's the thing. I don't have him on my shelf yet. Like, I just got Falcon, which I think is cool. And I do actually have it in mind at some point to get Falcon America, because I do think that that's kind of cool and it's a natural evolution. But I don't think I want him MCU. And if I did, I want him with the full wingspan. I'd like that figure more than anything else. So this doesn't catch my attention. I'm not going to do anything with this, but it is neat. That is sick. Finally, give some love to Cyclops, okay? That's good. Do I want it? It's an MCU figure. I don't want that, but that is good. That is sharp. That is beautiful. And finally, we got this costume, man. Took forever. This is a pass for me, but that's very solid. It's very cool. I like it a lot. Like, I like it a lot. That is a beautiful design. Very much the 90s with, like, the modern sway. I like it a lot. Gambit. His face is kind of bugging me a little bit. I don't know why his face is bugging me, but it is. Otherwise, that's what he's going to look like in the movie. I can get behind that, which we've already kind of seen this because we kind of knew what he was going to look like because we saw his design in the Deadpool movie. He comes with some cards. They will fall out of that hand very easily. I am of the opinion that I don't like a little card thing. I feel like it's better when his hand actually has the shooting cards or he's holding the cards already. I don't necessarily love it when he's got the little pinchy fingers that they don't hold up over time and the cards will drop. The bow staff is fine. It does exactly what it needs to do. It needs to be a bow staff. The coat is decent, but let's be honest, by this point, that should not be that jacket. Does it look good? Yes. It's still disappointing. By this point, we are watching other toy companies do it. That should be an actual jacket. Now, there is a way we could fix that. We could buy a 1/10 scale jacket with a wireframe, and we could pull this rubber piece off, this part here, and just leave the sleeves. And once we put the other sleeves over these sleeves, we'll never notice those sleeves again anyway, and that would work. And then we could fix this Gambit to be what we need him to be, but he should be that already. Okay? So let me just say that right now. I don't think it's a terrible figure. I think you'd be happy with it. But that is a standout, and I'm currently working on something right now. I have a Punisher jacket coming that's just like a black trench coat that has the wireframe and everything, a 1/12. I ordered it off of Amazon, and I'm going to see what that does for one of my Punisher figures. And when I do that, it'll be exactly what I'm talking about. It's what Marvel Legends should be doing. See, here, this is confusing to me. We come over here, we have a Magneto, and it's a solid-looking Magneto for what it is. The face looks a little sad. Like, why is he looking sad? He's an older guy now. Got to give it to him. Look, I'm surprised he's still working at all. Some of these older actors are dropping off. They're either dying or retiring flat out. But this dude, he's a beast. He does what he does. And I love to see that we're getting him for one more Magneto. It's fantastic. I'm all on board for it. That's a decent enough costume. I like it for what it is. I'm not about to buy this. But he has an actual cloth cape. Why do we not have a cloth coat? We should have a cloth coat if we have a cloth cape. We have a cloth cape in the line. In the same wave that we have a rubber jacket and a rubber cape. Choose. Why is his cape not a rubber cape? Like, choose. It's one or the other. Hasbro. Pick, man. Pick. And then stand your ground. Like rubber cape. Why? Why? Can we not get that in green? Where's the green? I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm genuinely confused why we're doing this. Why is this Doom? We've already had a Doom with the cape. He was released in a 3-pack, and he has a cloth cape. Why not take that cloth cape, put it on this guy? That's reuse, by the way. They love reuse. We didn't have to get this cape. I don't understand. Why? That's decent. I do like the costume that we're going with Doom. I actually do. I think it's nice. I think it's done well. But, like, I'm very confused about, like, this back and forth. Shang-Chi with the rings is cool. I like that effect. Where they're coming off of him and he's got, that's cool. I actually do like that a lot. I think that's very cool. Shang-Chi with the rings, that's a cool effect. I'm not going to buy it, but that is cool. I like that a lot. I really dig that. That works for me. I would love it if also we could take those off and then there's another, and who knows, we haven't seen these figures, but maybe there's another set where he's actually wearing the rings. Like, you know, like a forearm type of thing, like it did with the Spider-Man. That'd be cool. Oh, you trying to get my money. They'll get it too. They'll get it. I want that. I don't care. I want it. I want that Mr. Fantastic with his fantastic coat. I want it. That's a fantastic coat, and I want it. That's a fantastic Herbie, and I want it. That's a good Chris right there. Rubber cape. We just did Maximum Thor. We just did Maximum Thor with a beautiful cape. A wireframe cape. I know I'm harping on this. Why? I don't want to walk this line, but this line is famous for this. I'm going to call things out while appreciating them while appreciating them at the same time. I like this outfit. I think that it works. I like his build. I think that it works. I like the scar on his eye. That's tough. I like that we kept that and maintained it throughout the movies so far, even though we could have just said he healed and we never had to do that makeup again. Like, I like, that's a good head sculpt. That's really good. I like that we actually have that hand. That's cool. I like everything about this. The cape. We just did Maximum Thor. Just do the cape in black and give me that cape. It's basically the same suit. Shang-Chi, Captain America. Better look at Doomsday there. Doomsday. Better look at Doom. I really like that. I really like that. That is fantastic design. Even if I'm not buying it, that is fantastic design. I I don't think I have any notes. Like, that is so good. Okay, that face looks better in this picture. I want that. I don't care. I want it. That's fantastic, and I want it. Come on. He's got some real cheekbones, doesn't he? I'm noticing we're not showing off the Johnny changing in the back and the invisible Sue. I want those two, by the way. I'm a putz, you know that. There are certain things that get me, and Fantastic Four can often get a buy from me. The first family, I still love them. I've never read all their books, but I've never read anything Fantastic Four that I haven't appreciated ever. And they catch my attention every time. I think they're the perfect superhero team. They're just done so well. And I love the fact that they're a family first, they're people first, and heroes second. I've always really appreciated that. I love the Fantastic Four so much. And that's cool. I love that he's changing, and he's got a fantastic coat. And I love that she's completely invisible. And I love that she has a fantastic coat. Get me one of these coats. These are fantastic coats. Oh, there we are. They look good. They look good. Simple, but they look good. He's just flaming on, or whatever you want to call it. He's got the things for his hands. You could put those over his wrist. Then you could put those hands on so he could, just really be starting up or whatever. It's kind of like the Spider-Man changing into the black suit. It's one of those things like, does it really matter? Is it going to do anything for us? No, but it's just enough that it works for me, and I kind of like it. She looks really good. I don't know what else to say about the way that we do the transparent, plastic thing. Because, if you make her completely transparent, you see all the little things inside of her, and then, it kind of ruins it. But then, here, she's just kind of like a grayscale, and I know what they're going for, and I kind of leave it alone, because what else are we going to do, realistically? But, yeah. The face sculpts are fantastic, man. Gotta hand it to him. That's a good Doom. It really is a good Doom. I like that costume. Okay. And that is what I can say about all of that. Let me click that, click this, bring this back up, see where I was. Bill is a Betty fan. Not necessarily, but sure. It is crazy that we have so many Hulks, but not one Betty Ross. Right! Or her father, Thunderbolt Ross. We don't have Rick Jones or Mike. That's what I mean. And those characters are important in Marvel. You just said it right there. You would buy her dad. You would buy Betty. You would where are these characters that are so concrete important to the mythology of what the Marvel characters are? I feel like there's an entire area of Marvel Legends untapped. We only ever get one Moira McTaggart, but never a Bolivia. Never a Bolivar Trask. Yeah, there's no Henry guy. Right. We're still missing a large chunk of the Morlocks too. We have Callisto and Caliban, but no Artie, no Leech, no Mask, no Sunder. Exactly. Cue Rick James, Mary Jane. Mary Jane. Dude, yes. I still want a McFarlane 90s Mary Jane with long, wild hair. I'd buy that. No, I agree. I think characters and eras and whatnot are important. I think we have a major untapped industry here. Let's see. I will say this. Take that Doomsday Gambit, retool him into a comic book Gambit. Not a fan of Channing Tatum Gambit outside of jokes and memes. He's a comedy character. I am curious how that is going to play out. Like, can we move him into the serious? Because when he shows up in Doomsday, he is played for laughs. How do we move him into being a serious character that we can believe is the King of Thieves later on down the road? He's always kind of goofy, even in the books. So we don't have to take him too super serious, but he needs to be serious enough. I am curious how that's going to play. Magneto is an Amazon exclusive. Ooh, I don't love that, but I don't think that's as bad as like a Walmart exclusive or a Target exclusive. It can be done. I want to see Herbie fight R2-D2 for the rights to the color scheme. Herbie has more weapons and mobility, but R2-D2 has plot armor. Oh, he sure does. That's no joke at all. You're absolutely right. He does. But we all love R2 regardless. Remember, Bill, there will be better versions next year, even though they should be great first go-rounds, but Hasbro is a business, and like you have discussed about that. Right. Whoa, wait. The thing with his full outfit isn't there, and he has the bearded alternate head, too. What do you say to me? You say there's a thing? I was noticing there wasn't a thing. I just thought there wasn't a thing. Hold on. What? Let's see. People.com did something. Did they show him off? Oh, I see him. Oh, he does. Yeah, because he's got the full top. Okay. So he's got the full top, so he's got the full suit. Because the one that we got with the movie packet just has the pants. Okay. I seen him. He looks good. I like him in the full suit, right? Are these 2-packs? Is that what we're doing here? Are we doing are we gonna do like the Thing and Mr. Fantastic and Herbie are in one pack, and then Sue and Johnny are in another pack? Are we gonna do that? Because I'd be into that. I'd buy those packs. Of course, I'd buy those packs. I'm not quite the Spider-Man level, but I am a Fantastic Four putz for what it's worth. You'll catch me buying some Fantastic Four. There is a Thing. Yeah, I just got to see him. Yes, he looks good. Looks good. I think he's single release. Tatum did well as Gambit. The fact that he's fighting against Shang-Chi, who is a badass joke character as well, in the trailer tells me that they're drawing the parallel to help him be Gambit. And it's not that I don't think that it can't be done. Right, absolutely. But I do wonder how far you have to walk that line for him to be funny. Because other characters... Marvel doesn't take itself way too seriously. Like, I mean, you have literally a movie where Thor forges a hammer and a bunch of people die, and we make a bunch of jokes about Thor being like a super manly man, and he teams up with Rocket Raccoon and keeps calling him Rabbit and things like that, and he knows how to speak Groot. Little things like that, so we never take this too seriously. So Tatum can very much work. The Gambit we've been given can work, and the other characters will like bounce off him just fine. But I'm curious how far you walk it back or how far you go with it, before you run into troubles. That's kind of where I think my mind is with it. But yeah, I don't think there's too much of a problem with him. But I get it. If you wanted a serious Gambit, you're never going to get one that way from Tatum. He's always going to kind of be a meme character, I think. And I think that's what they're going for. But if they play it right, just like Rocket Raccoon, he still gets cool moments and serious moments, and he's a meme character. So I don't think it's like a broken. I think it can work. They're fighting an uphill battle with Tatum Gambit. The whole point of him being Gambit in modern times is the joke of it all. Add on his accent. Now place him in a scene with dead X-Men. Right. How far can we go with joke Gambit? It is, I think you're right. I think there's an uphill battle taking place here. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm saying that you got to be real careful what you do with him and how far you take the joke and then expect that people are going to bounce off that joke and take him seriously later on. I think there is an argument to be made for all of that. It can be difficult. That can get tough. But I think it can be done. That's also important. So, that's enough. I have rambled for about 3 hours or so. I think a little more. I may be going close to a 4-hour stream here, and I got to edit this. So I am going to get out of here. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Like always, I like that I finally got to do this again. It took me like a month that we were out of rotation, but hopefully my life doesn't spiral into some kind of other calamity. And we will be here next weekend. So join me then. Of course, I will release chapters as the week goes on and so forth. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Appreciate everybody checking out the show and whatnot. And I will, I'll catch everybody later. I will. Yeah.